This is the mecca of the baseball world, the top uncommitted players in the United States and Canada, hundreds of college coaches in attendance, all here at LakePoint Sports Baseball Village for the Prep Baseball Future Games. Truly an event unlike any other. I'm Cory McCartney, and we've got an action-packed day for you. And the start really of an action-packed week. It's workout day. We've got gameplay from Thursday to Saturday, and just take a look at all that we've got coming over the next 5 days from here at the Baseball Village on our broadcasts.
The Future Games are back at the beautiful LakePoint Sports Complex, where the top uncommitted talent from across the country will battle it out in front of over 300 college coaches.
Future Games, let's go.
That, again, just a taste of what's to come over the next few days. And if we bring up our broadcast menu that we've got slated for these games, I mean, you're going to see we've got workout day today. We've got gameplay from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the 16U division. And then we'll bring you the Junior Feature Games Championship game on Sunday. But, of course, today being workout day, we've got you covered for the 10:30 to noon slot, where we'll have Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Then from 12 to 1:30, it's Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. And I will be joined along the way by a number of luminaries from Prep Baseball, including Prep Baseball President and founder Sean Duncan, a number of state directors, and also some of the players who are going to be basically coming straight from their workouts to come over and give us an inside look at what this event is like, and to kind of take you inside what the preparation for the Feature Games looks like. I got to catch up with Chip Gorski from King Ridge Christian School here in Georgia, also plays for the Georgia Jackets, and he'll be representing Team Georgia. Let's kind of go inside the thinking of Chip Gorski as he got himself ready for the Feature Games. We are on the road to the Feature Games presented by Publix. Cory McCartney, Prep Baseball Georgia's Hudson Graham, and Hudson, Chip Gorski, King Ridge Christian, Georgia Jackets. The name is a mouthful, and he is an absolute handful for opposing pitchers.
That's for sure, yeah. Chip's been one that we've been able to see over the last year, and then I think the development from him has been really, really cool to see. Last summer, he was, one of those kids that we'd pop up to the field, and it's like, oh, who's this kid hitting a couple doubles, getting after it, plays really, really hard. Leader behind the dish, and now a year later the strength is kind of filled out, had quite a few home runs this spring, and is on a big summer tear this year.
Always an interesting thing for catchers going into the Future Games, because you've got so many coaches back there looking to see these pitchers show out. Kind of have to have a special catcher to be able to handle so many different arms and guys who are going to be ratcheted up. How do you see Chip handling the atmosphere?
The good thing about Chip is that he's a team guy. He could be on any of these teams at the Future Games and make friends with anybody. Luckily, he'll know obviously most of the pitchers that he'll get to face. A couple guys that he catches on a regular basis actually will be on there as well. But I think for him is that he wants to know his pitcher. He's a student of the game, so I think that he'll be able to do a really good job making sure those guys are calm. Obviously, big moment for those guys, big moment for him, but I think he'll put all that together and be really good back there.
A guy who looks like he's made for this stage. Here's my interview with the King Ridge Christian 2026. That's Chip Gorski, 2026 out of King Ridge Christian, playing for Georgia Jackets. Chip, man, appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So the updated 2026 rankings for Prep Baseball came out this week, number 21 in the class. What was the reaction, and then kind of what does that set the stage for in terms of the summer and how you're going to try to follow it up?
I was pumped, man. It was really exciting when I saw that. Hudson, seeing him the day before, he let me know at that showcase. It was really exciting, and I can't wait to follow it up this summer. Keep working hard and keep working on my body and my game.
Whenever I talk to the scouts about you, the big word that pops out is loud when they talk about that bat being in your hand, the exit velos into the hundreds. Tell me about the mentality and the approach to the plate.
I'm looking to do damage. I'm using the full field, but we're looking to hit the ball hard and until we get to 2 strikes and we got to shorten up, do a job. But looking to do some damage early in the count.
So they now are tracking, miles per hour with the bat in your hand at the major league level. You guys already had those numbers. Yours
Yes,
is in
sir.
the 70. When you can get that number and kind of put it up against what you see guys in the majors doing, what does that mean for you?
It's pretty cool. It's nice to be able to compare yourself to those big leaguers, man. It really lets you know where you're at, how much harder you got to work, and motivates me for sure.
Defensively, you've got that pop time down to, was it 189 now?
Yes, sir. 189, yes.
Do you get to a point where it's like, how much better can it get? Is it like, how do you improve something like that after a point?
I mean, you can keep on developing explosiveness out of the crouch and arm strength, of course, but I mean, I'm just going to keep working on getting stronger, more explosive, and then long toss and get that arm strength up, keep getting the velo up.
Is some of it, just the transition and how
Yeah,
better
it's
the transition
quicker the
can get?
exchange, quicker the pop time is going to be. That's what I'm looking to improve right now.
So you're coming off of a massive year for King Ridge Christian, Region Offensive Player of the Year.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you
that.
so much.
What did you learn about yourself this past season, and what are you going to try to build on that these next few months?
So I learned about myself that I recently came into some more power than I used to have when I was younger, and I learned really how to hit off-speed pitches this year. I started to get pitched around a little bit in high school ball, and really had to develop my timing and ability to sit back on pitches and wait and use the whole field.
It set the stage for a massive summer for you. You're going to represent Georgia in the feature games here at the end of July.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
What do you know about that, and what are kind of because I mean, it's an absolute circus here with hundreds of college coaches. What's the expectations?
I mean, I can't wait for the exposure. I mean, last year I came out to watch the older guys at the future games, and just the stands behind the field were just packed with coaches, clipboards, stopwatches, radar guns. It's really exciting.
Yeah, and then the commitments just flow after
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So yeah, obviously a big opportunity.
Yes, sir. All but 3 of the guys on last year's team are already committed, so that's really exciting.
All right, I want to get a taste of what these coaches are going to see, so I want to get that bat in your hand and have you take us through your setup.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. First thing I do when I step in the box, I remind myself how God has blessed me, and I'm so fortunate to be able to play the game of baseball. Then step up to the plate, touch the outside corner, and then I'm kind of just like in my stance, I'm kind of like feeling my load a little bit. And then as the pitcher separates his hands most time, that's when I start my load. I load my hands as I toe tap into like my coil, and then from there I'm just taking my hips and my top hand just straight to the ball. That keeps me on top, back spinning it, trying to do some damage, maybe even lift it to the gaps.
Chip, man, thank you so much for doing that. That was awesome.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. If you're not already, make sure you follow LakePoint Sports on all our social media channels. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and you get so much more happening here on campus. This maybe so more than any other weekend that we have here at LakePoint Sports is a stage set for big-time performances. But if you've been paying attention, that's not the only thing that we are hunting for this summer and on into the fall here at LakePoint Sports. We've teamed up with Johnsonville in their push to help to keep the internet juicy. And let's go inside that mission to bring the positive back to the internet. So as you can see, Johnsonville is partnering with LakePoint Sports to highlight positive actions, good sportsmanship, and selfless acts associated with all those youth sports that we love. Any and everyone is encouraged to share these moments. So whether you're the one who spotted the activity, the one performing the act, or the recipient of the good deed, there is something in it for everyone, and Johnsonville might just reward you for your behavior and or participation. So use that QR code just to see on screen right now for more information, or you can head on over to lakepointsports.com or any of our social media channels to access the submission form. Now let's get a look at what you're going to see seeing over these next few hours with our multi-view here. We got fields 9, 10, 11, and 12, the entire north campus of LakePoint Sports, where the 16U players are going through their workout day. You'll have guys taking batting practice. You'll also see players running the 60. You see some catchers going through their throwdowns and being measuring catcher velo, outfield velo, infield velo. So this is really an opportunity for these guys to show out in a showcase environment. So what's it like to be within the kind of rigors of the future games? Anna Bellinghausen caught up with Colin Bland, one of the top players from Tennessee, right after he got done with his workout.
Well, good morning from Prep Baseball Future Games. Alongside me, Colin Bland. Colin, what does it mean to be here with all this talent throughout the nation?
I feel blessed. It's a good opportunity. Glad I'm out here.
What do you hope to showcase most throughout these next few days?
My bat and how good of a teammate I am and a competitor.
Going into your junior season, what have been the biggest things you've been working on to improve your game?
My speed and my fielding and really my arm. I feel like I can get my arm strength up a little bit and just continuing to hit the ball well. Those are my biggest things, I guess.
So August 1st is a big date for all of these recruits. What are you looking forward to most in getting to hear from college coaches and getting that feedback as well?
Just really things I can keep working on and what they see out of me and like things they're excited about, my future, I guess. That's really it.
And how about playing with some of the best talent across the nation? How special is that going to be these next few days and getting to really see where you stack up against these guys?
Oh, it's going to be fun. I'm glad I'm out here. Really shows off all the hard work and all these guys, they're a bunch of dudes out here. So I'm just really excited to be out here. It's a great opportunity.
What makes the talent in Tennessee so unique?
It's a good question. I think we just got ballers. Like everybody, we ball, we compete day in, day out, and I just think it's a great state of baseball.
Well, Colin, thanks so much for the time and best of luck these next couple days.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Mentioned it's workout day here at the 2024 Future Games, and everybody a sense of what's going on today. We've got fields 9 through 11, 9, 10, 11, and 12, excuse me, all underway here with events going on. We got batting practice, guys chew on off infield velo in the top left corner. Of course, batting practice down in the bottom left. Got guys getting ready to run the 60 down in the right corner. Field 10 up in the top right corner, just waiting for guys to take BP over there as well. So we're going to have an action-packed day for you here across all these fields, and I'll be joined shortly by a number of luminaries from Prep Baseball. Sean Duncan, Prep Baseball president and founder, expected to join me here shortly as we get things going. I have a number of guys scheduled to join me throughout the day, so this is really going to be a lot of fun for us to bring you everything from here across the baseball village. Right now, during this time window, we've got Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. And then during the 12 to 1:30 window, we'll have Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. Right now, on the bottom left corner, we got batting practice going on, obviously. Get a bit of a look. I believe that's Missouri down there in the bottom corner. So we'll see, we've got taking batting practice down there for them right now. We got Jake Brett Schneider from Francis Howell High School. Yeah, we are well underway with workout day here at the Prep Baseball Future Games. Cory McCartney with you. We're going to be joined by a number of Prep Baseball luminaries along the way. Right now, down the bottom left corner, you see Daxton Hammett from Arkansas taking batting practice out of Harmony Grove. Daxton, 5'11", 170-pounder. He's the number 3 left-handed pitcher in Arkansas, number 12 overall. When you see him on the mound, fastball up around 88. He's got a curveball 69 to 72, but right now at the plate, see him teeing off. So one of the interesting things to watch out of this is the guys' metrics and how we are able to kind of quantify those and quantify what we're seeing from them at the plate. A lot of the numbers we have on these guys, some of them may be a little bit dated, so will be an interesting opportunity for us to see how they've progressed over the years. And a lot of these guys are players that have come back out of the junior feature games. Sean Cover, in particular from Arkansas, was at the feature games last year, 2021. He was a junior feature games participant. So obviously an opportunity for him now to come out and show how he's progressed. Now down in the bottom left-hand corner, you got Owen Roach from Arkansas. Owen, Valley View High School, number 1 ranked outfielder in Arkansas, number 3 overall. You got a 60 time on him, a 6.83. The current exit velo, 98.6. So that's going to be something fun to watch today as well. Is any of the records going to fall from past future games? Because they are something that they are able to have been keeping track of for the entirety of the events in their history. So it's certainly going to be something we are going to be watching throughout to see if any of those records happen to fall. I know when Sean Duncan joins me, that's something he'll certainly talk about, because he's kind of seen this thing grow from a very small event at the beginning to something now where we're talking about it at a national level in hundreds and hundreds of college scouts, and they're expecting us to be a record number of scouts across campus. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch it. And you do have as I mentioned, the records here, the fastball record, 95 miles an hour, infield velocity 96, outfield velocity 97, pop time 178, exit velo. So this is the one I think where everybody's going to be watching. Alex Stanwich in 2019, 109, but that was off of a tee. So we'll see if anybody can make a play at changing that over the next few hours here. Again, we'll have workout day all day today, so we're bringing you a couple windows of this, but there'll be more beyond what we're going to be providing. Levi Martin currently hitting for Arkansas out of Valley View. Levi is a right-handed pitcher primarily, top-ranked right-handed pitcher in Arkansas, 10th overall. He was here 2022 for the junior feature games. See him down there. I think the opportune term when we talk about showcase BP is daddy hacks, and we're going to see a whole lot of daddy hacks over the next few hours here across LakePoint Sports. And luckily we're not doing BP where there's cars parked behind, because there are some fields, as you can see, field 9 in the top left-hand corner. You see some cars back there. We have had some windows fall victim to some of the home runs that we've had hit here across the last couple years, and these guys just keeps getting stronger and more power in these bats seemingly at a younger age. And of course you're putting a metal bat in these kids' hands after so many of them had to play in the wood bat events over the past few weeks. They're getting to really turn loose without question here during these BP rounds. See some infield velo work in the top left. Get ready for some more batting practice on field 9 in the top right corner. The state directors and different personnel from Prep Baseball, certainly the guys who are taking part in all these events and running different drills and different segments of workout day. It's really a all hands-on approach. Nice throw there off balance. I think that's one of when you're that guy taking pictures up there, there's no better shot than the jump throw from the shortstop position. So watching these guys kind of cut across and singing the bling going as he goes across there. But ready for some more BP here. You see all the tracking metrics. Again, we use TrackMan, so many other pieces of the puzzle that Prep Baseball uses to tell the full picture of these players. It's not just about what we see in game. It's really about the full measurement of the player, what they're able to do at the plate, what they do in the field, and certainly also measuring things like They're processing with S2 cognition, their vertical jumps. So we see a number of different measurements on these players. So we're planning on being with you until around 1:30 when we go through the second round of workout day here after we get through this first group. Again, right now we're rolling along with Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. To say the jersey's looking pretty good this year. The changes that Prep Baseball went through for their kind of rebranding as they went away from Prep Baseball Report to Prep Baseball came with a new logo with the team's moniker. So I think that's really been a nice approach for them, and certainly everybody seems to be gravitating towards the new logos and seeing it looked awfully good on these new uniforms, and of course the tents and everything else. And we've got them all over the place here at LakePoint Sports. And we'll be back with you shortly. I'll be back with you shortly, and hopefully you won't be just hearing me when we come back, trying to track down some more of the other Prep Baseball Report individuals that were going to join us throughout this broadcast. So we'll be back shortly. You'll be back with me shortly anyway. We'll just keep you on the action here and give you an opportunity to continue watching everything from the LakePoint Sports Baseball Village. Now joined by Dan Jurek, Pacific Northwest State Director. Dan, first, welcome to LakePoint Sports. I know travel concerns have been on the minds of everybody the last few days, so hope everything was smooth for you, and welcome to the Baseball Village.
Thanks for having us. We got lucky getting out of Seattle, so no issues for me and my staff. A couple guys are making their way in today, so we'll be up to full strength by the time the game's rolling for sure.
So obviously workout day today. You guys got games ahead for the next 3 days. I want to dive a little bit into your pitching rotation. Let's kind of go through some of the guys that you brought with you. Thursday, you guys are leading off with Eli Hurst, and you got Sean Evans, McCray Cuffman, Tilden Hisu, and Deegan Quisenberry. Tell me, when you're looking at these arms, when you guys set the rotation the way you did, let's talk at the beginning of it. Why is Eli getting the ball first?
Eli was able to come with us last year as well, so he'll be returning to LakePoint for his second outing. He jumped to number 1 in the 2026 rankings for us, and he just checks all the boxes of the prototypical Pacific Northwest arm that we've seen do very well in the last few years, whether it's a Mick Abel, a Noble Meyer who was down here, J.R. Ritchie, Jackson Cox. He's on that same type of trajectory right now, and we'll see obviously how the development continues. But from a coach's standpoint and what you're looking to find, there's just a lot to like right now, and he's kind of earned that #1 spot for us.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the #1 player in Washington, 19th ranked right-handed pitcher in the nation. Got the fastball around 86, the curveball's change slider. Also gets it done at the plate. Exit velo's around 91. Is this a guy you think has two-way potential at the next level?
I'll plead the fifth on that one, but he can swing it. He's a good athlete, and that's why he does have, the impressive pitchability, body control, mechanics on the mound, because he is an athletic guy. Obviously, we think his future is on the mound. That being said, he's a very capable hitter, and we've seen the velocity steadily creep up at a good pace to where I think he'll bottom out at 86 now, and we've seen him hold 87, 88 consistently with some sink, and reports he's creeping up to 90, and up in the. We've seen the upper 80s. It'll just be a matter of how consistently he sits there, at an event like this.
Sean Evans will be next in that game. Talk about guys that get done to play. Exit velo's over 100, but you guys got him on the mound. Tell me what we're going to see out of him.
You'll see some swings as well, and Sean is a really unique guy with his size, with his attributes, with his overall athleticism. He can really rotate, so he's got a lot of output on the exit velocity, the power potential, as well as he can just throw a baseball really hard. And there's some aptitude for spin as well, so he can do a lot, and it's just a matter of kind of what makes that next jump first.
Yeah, McCray Kerfman after him, and again, a lot of these guys, the position player ranking is ahead of him. When you guys are putting the team together, I know there's certain states that'll look at it, and maybe they want more POs and they want guys that can do both. How did you? I mean, is that the way that you kind of approach it? Whereas, okay, give me guys who are just ball players and we can do a little bit of everything.
It's a tough balance, right? Because there are a lot of guys, especially at this level, at this event, that can do it all for their high school teams. And being a pitcher only at this event is not a slight against your offensive potential whatsoever. It's more so like when you're trying to project your future and your highest potential, where do you kind of see yourself down the road, or where do we see you down the road? I would feel very comfortable throwing a lot of our pitchers into a hitting environment, play them on defense, things like that. There's no concerns there. But when you get to LakePoint, when you get to the future games, I really think it's best to shine at one particular thing as opposed to try to do it all. So, a guy like McCray is going to play a lot of shortstop in high school. He's played a lot of shortstop this summer, and he fits the same mold as a Sean and an Eli. These guys can really move. They can really rotate. There's body control, which leads to consistent command and strikes. And, his velocity has crept up as well. He was down at LakePoint before earlier this summer, up to 88. Always had a sharp slider. So, again, he's just starting to trend up on the mound to a really desirable profile for what these coaches are looking for.
And then a guy I know whose name probably gets butchered almost every day at school, Tilden Sue from Lakeside School in Seattle, primarily a catcher. Tell me a little bit about the arm.
Yeah, it's the arm is really ticked up as well. So we saw him in the winter. He was up to 85 indoors as a rising sophomore. Offensively, it's a great profile. Switch hitting catcher. Obviously, people love to see that. Yeah. Contact ability from both sides. And, again, he does everything well. There's no weaknesses or holes to his game. And, it's that profile that coaches are looking for. So we will pitch him twice because the velocity has crept up. And I think if he's fully rested, we're going to see some good numbers from him. But, again, he'll go through the workout. He'll take some swings. And, there's a good chance he works into gameplay as well.
Deegan Quisenberry after him. A guy who was here last summer for the feature games. You already mentioned another player that's doing that as well. I'm always interested to know kind of from their perspective how they approach it the second time around. Because I'm sure, especially for a pitcher, you get in front of that environment when you look back behind the backstop and you're like, oh my God, there's like all these college coaches back there, and it has to be a little bit daunting. But I would assume the second time around for a guy like Deegan, this is probably like, okay, I know the environment, I know what's expected, let's just go out there and ball.
I agree. No, it's a really good point. And then also, he pitched a lot this spring, and he pitched consistently in a starting role, accumulated a lot of innings, had a great season for himself. So I think the environment, the circumstances, everything that's going on, nothing will be too big for him. He's ultra competitive, and I expect him to kind of come out firing out of the gate and really fill up the zone like he has, again, with a little bit more velo, a little bit more output than we saw before.
On Friday, Bryce Collins is going to start things off, and Sean Duncan likes to say that every time a guy hits 90, a bell's supposed to ring here at LakePoint Sports, the future games. Are we going to see 90 out of him? We have him at 88.5 in the profile. Has he already been at 90, and is that going to be easy for him at this point?
This past week, he was down at Irvine in SoCal for a West Coast PI, and we had him on 90. on the stalker. So all indications are we would be ringing that bell for him. And if not, it's going to be pretty darn close. And again, another guy, great outfielder, really good athlete, another PNW type of arm, 3 pitches for strikes. Again, he's super polished. I think you could put him in a college bullpen right now, and then by the time he gets to his senior year, he's going to be able to do a lot with that baseball on the mound, and he's a really exciting prospect for us.
Tell me what that means to you, a PNW type of arm.
Well, originally I'm from the Northeast, and we have a similar demographic of player that tends to mature just a little bit later than, say, like a Georgia or a Florida or a Texas. So we typically get a little bit more size, a little bit more durability. There's just not a lot of time in the spring to accumulate innings. So these arms are fresh. They usually don't have a ton of mileage, and you can see these sudden spikes where the skinny, projectable, lanky kid who was in the mid-80s, all of a sudden it's an 89 or it's a 90. And, you know, in the South or in bigger states with better weather, that might be there as like a freshman or a sophomore. We just typically see those guys kind of get that way their junior year or maybe early their senior year. And I just think it's the workload, the innings, and how their body kind of matures as they accumulate more reps. And I think it leads to a healthy, natural kind of development, so to speak.
You guys are then going to go into your second game. Michael Ravel will be the next arm up for you guys. Fastball, we're getting into that 90s territory with him as well. Change up and slider. Tell me what you liked about him and why he's on this roster.
There's a lot to like. When he walks into the ballpark, he'll stand out because he's a big 6'4" kid with shoulders that stretch the uniform. Great basketball player. He was a crucial part to Richland winning the state championship this year. They went undefeated, and he did it all. We saw him play first base. We saw him pitch in relief in the state championship game and put up a lot of zeros against a loaded Puyallup offense. He played incredible defense in left field. He's kind of one of these guys, you put him on the diamond or you put him in between any lines, and he's just going to compete. So just makeup is off the charts, ultra competitive, and physically, there's just so much upside to what he can do. It's really going to be exciting to see what kind of makes that next jump for him.
Dylan Maimia, when we start looking at the position players for you guys, the #1 ranked outfielder in Washington, 7th overall in the class, 60 time of 6.95, exit velos 91. I always like a guy who can give you those 90 exit velos and a guy who runs a sub 760. You kind of know that's an absolute baller, a guy who's that mix of power and speed is that we're going to see out of him.
Absolutely, and he's a junior future game alum as well, and I'll give him a lot of credit. He has really transformed his game from a speedy kid who could hit a lot of backside ground balls and beat it out to he's extra strong, super physical, more line drive contact, better output, better exit velos. He plays faster than what a 60 shows. I think he'll put up a better 60 here, but just his play speed, you really have to see it on the field to appreciate it with his jumps, his reads, what he does in the outfield. It's a really good profile because it's left-left that can stick in center. He can throw. And with the left-handed bat, I just think coaches want this type of guy towards the top of the lineup.
Yeah, it's interesting weather-wise too. I mean, it's not too hot here today. I mean, you know, I was going to take us in a different direction here because a 2010 draft pick by the Atlanta Braves. You played not far from here in Rome. You understand what the summer in Georgia means for those guys coming from the Pacific Northwest. It could be brutal when you think about kind of coming here and then obviously everything that comes with the feature games that you're trying to show out and kind of own that moment. When you talk to the guys about this opportunity, how do you kind of couch what this is and kind of everything that comes with it?
We do address the heat, and we talk about hydration, nutrition, showing up to the field with towels, extra shirts, like all those little details to kind of help yourself feel more comfortable do make a big difference. Thankfully, whether it's my playing experience or my coaching experience down here, we've seen guys overcome some obstacles. We've seen guys that have to battle through it and kind of everything in between. And I think just knowing in advance or having just some kind of idea that there's going to be some small adjustments helps. And then also we try to be smart with the roster and not keep guys out there for too long, right? Because you got a small window to capture someone's attention. We want them to see your A game as much as possible and then get you out of there, right? So flash the potential, show us all the upside. We don't need a complete game out of these guys. You know, that's not what we're here for. So they've done a really good job working through the elements and just kind of staying tough and resilient, which is what they're used to. Normally they're fighting through rain and cold, especially in the spring season early on. It's just a different type of competitor when they get to the summer. But
All right, so I mentioned the Atlanta Braves 2010 draftee. I covered the Braves as a reporter from 2012 until 2023. You were in Rome with the guys like Christian Bethancourt, Julio Teheran, Evan Gattis. What's it like for you to kind of be back here and be so close to a place where you got to play at a professional level?
It's cool. I've never really thought about it in a while until you start to get down here, and then you just get familiarized with the environment and stuff like that. It was a bit of, I wouldn't say a culture shock, but a baseball shock to me, being from the Northeast and being accustomed to like tough winters and indoors, to all of a sudden being in whether it was Georgia or Florida, every day showing up and trying to get your work in, run your poles, do your long toss, and then you got to recover, hydrate, and get ready to play. So it's definitely a much different environment, but once you kind of get your routine down, you can kind of set yourself up for success.
What do you remember that kind of about some of those memories from that time, or the guys that you kind of watch? I mean, Christian Bethancourt's been in the league for a long time now. Evan Gattis was a guy that I spent a lot of time, just had a fantastic story, a guy that, at one point was a janitor and ends up just, kind of being a little bit of a phenom here for a while in Atlanta. But when you watch some of those guys that you were around still playing, I mean, what are kind of the memories that those bring back?
I just remember thinking about how much better they were than I was. Bethancourt especially, like he was a catcher. I think he was 19 when I played with him, and that was a time where like he was throwing it from the catcher position back to me harder than I could pitch it. So, he just had freaky arm talent, and obviously it worked out for him. And then, Evan was my first roommate when I got bumped up to Danville on the road. And obviously he's just a massive physical presence. And he made a huge jump from rookie ball to A ball when he was in Rome with us. Tons of home runs and tons of pop. And he was just head and shoulders above everyone we were playing with or competing against. And you could kind of sense, like, dude, like, this is a big leaguer. Like, this is what it's supposed to look like. And same with Bethancourt with his tools, as well as some other guys. So when you're in that environment and you see those guys every day, there's a very noticeable difference to what they can do physically and how they perform.
Yeah, Evan was a lot of fun. Just a great personality, a guy that was just kind of fun-loving, and I think everything that he went through to get himself back into baseball, I think he kind of had a unique perspective that a lot of other people did. So tell me about the path from there to prep baseball for you. You were a scout in the New York Collegiate Baseball League, Cape Cod League, New England Collegiate Baseball League. How do you go from that to being in the Pacific Northwest for prep baseball?
I was trying to make it as a college coach for a while and had bounced around to a couple different programs in the Northeast between the Division III level and the Division I level. I was back at my alma mater, St. John Fisher, and had gone through the GA program, got my master's, and kind of just reached a turning point with my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and we have 2 kids together, about long-term sustainability, what we were going to do, and different things like that. And I bumped into Shooter Hunt around the time that Prep Baseball New York and Prep Baseball Pennsylvania were just exploding. And they were running their state games. I was assigned to a field. Shooter was assigned to a field. We connected. I also had the summer where I met Dave Seifert, who does all our draft coverage, to meet him as well. Came to the future games at Grand Park out in Indiana, and just continued to kind of meet some guys throughout the company while putting in work. And then when the opportunity kind of came about out in the Pacific Northwest, with my wife being from California originally, it was a good fit, and I was hoping I might be a guy they would consider. So I kind of sheepishly put my name out there for them to kind of entertain, see what would come of it, and it worked out. So moved to Seattle permanently, that 2018 year into 2019, and have been out there since.
I always like to put this on guys, and not asking you to single out anybody necessarily or leave anybody out, but I think a state director will put together a team, and they'll have their guys that maybe have state ranks, maybe have national ranks. When you were putting it together and you brought your guys in here, were there a few players you thought, when he leaves Emerson and he leaves LakePoint Sports, college coaches are going to be talking about this kid?
I feel comfortable saying that about all the guys on the roster. It just might depend on how the performance goes, while they're down here. And we've been very fortunate. We had Noble Meyer here during the COVID year, so that was all live streamed. And, as soon as he got back home, things really sped up quickly for him. Looking, obviously, Slater DeBrune from last year is a marquee name, obviously. Just made 18U National, so shout out to Slater for that. Coming into it, you can't really anticipate what type of results and reaction there's going to be, but if they show their A game, something's going to change. And I really feel that about all of our guys. Like, if they show their A game while they're down here, there's going to be a lot of eyes on them. There's going to be a lot of follow-up conversations. I think our upside on the mound is pretty evident. It's pretty strong. But, a couple bats, whether it's Anthony Karras in the outfield for us from Gonzaga Prep, Sawyer Nelson, a great shortstop from South Salem, Drew Wicklander from Sumner, playing third base for us. There's a lot of offensive potential there as well. And if you start to rack up hits across 3 games against the arms you're facing, your name is going to get circled really quickly.
Yeah, Slater DeBrune last year had one of the best moments, I think, of the future games of the walk-off home run, and just kind of rode that into everything great that's come for him. So I know that's kind of always going to be a cool thing for you guys, too, is when I know there's certain, like, I'm going to say that you guys, I mean, there is a pride, right? Like, you're putting guys out there that are representing you, right? I mean, it's as much as you want your team to go out there and win, this is about, like, it's almost like fantasy baseball at this level, and you want the guys that you put out there to perform well. So a moment like that has to really go a long way.
Yeah, and just proud of Slater.
Yeah.
I'm proud of other guys that have done well for themselves as well. Because I imagine it's hard, right? I can talk about, your makeup and your mentality and how I prepare for this, but, like, I'm not between the lines. I'm not on the mound. I'm not in the batter's box. So everything that I'm preaching to these guys is just pure speculation. They're the ones living it. And to be able to rise to the occasion there is pretty special, and a lot of good things can come from that. And you just want to see guys give the best version of themselves while they're here. And thankfully, we've been able to witness that.
Great stuff from Dan Jurek from Pacific Northwest. Dan, man, appreciate it. Enjoy your time here at LakePoint Sports, and best of luck to your guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to go away from our little studio cam here and just let you take a look at everything going on at workout day. You're good. That was awesome. Cool. That's so cool that you roomed with Evan. Like, I worked for Fox Sports South, so I was like one of their on-air guys and as a reporter for him. So spent quite a bit of time around him.
I left out the part where I walked into the hotel room and he's on his bed with a 12-pack, and it looks like a freaking teacup in his hand. He's just slugging beers. But
He was like a cult phenomenon for about a year.
it was wild, man. So what happened was our 2010, we're in the same draft year. We meet that year, so he's just coming from college. The off season, he went pure CrossFit, and he came back and looked like a different dude physically. And that's when he started to hit the home runs, really showed the power, and it was just like, dude, this is just different. Like he's mishitting balls to right field for home runs. And crazy, like how he got up there, what he did, wins a World Series, like just goes to show, man, if you're talented, stuff works out for you.
I remember Freddie Gonzalez. We were talking to him in the dugout the one day, and he was like, "Look, I'll throw him in left field. What's the worst that can happen?" He's like, "I need that bat in the lineup." So that was great. That was good stuff, man. Thanks for doing that.
No problem.
Hope we hit on everything you wanted to. I tried to
Man,
have notes on everybody.
We could talk for hours. It's just
Yeah.
one of those things where like it's hard to go through everything because people will check out at that point.
I think we're doing one of your guys' games tomorrow.
I actually signed up for a game with it's when we play Utah.
Okay.
Because I saw Scholzen was on there.
Gotcha.
And actually, that Utah game is Utah PNW is like a great storyline matchup of cold weather kids. They're going to be physical. Like, a lot of these kids get recruited out of region. I just think it's a really good matchup. I'm excited about.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, this will be fun. Trying something different. We've always just kind of done one game, and I was like, well, we got all these cameras. Why don't we just throw everything out there like Red Zone and see what happens?
Wild.
So
Red Zone's a great time.
Yeah, I was like supposed to start off with Sean, and I'm like blowing in the wind for 30 minutes by myself.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is going on? Like, where is he?
All right, let me see. Cool. All right, man. Where is the best place to find this? Or is there like an estimated time for when it'll go live?
It's live right now.
Oh, okay.
So if you go, I think Salusi should have already tweeted it out from the main account.
Okay.
So it's on all the LakePoint stuff. Then you can share it from there. Or you can just if you go on your phone, you know how to share video, so it looks like it's coming from your platform.
Oh, I don't.
So if you go to a video, so it's like it's live right now, right? So if you click on the video, and then you go down to those little 3 dots here and hit share broadcast, you can put whatever you want to put on it.
Oh, okay.
And it'll look like it's on your account.
Gotcha.
It'll be our video.
Is there any way? There's no way to rewind this because this is live, correct?
Correct, but we can, you can pull stuff out of it if you need to, or whatever you want to do.
I'll wait. It's not like time sensitive.
Okay.
But I don't do a lot of on-camera stuff, so I'm just thinking it'd be good to kind of flash.
Yeah, it was
that
good.
while we're down here. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got way more potential.
Yeah. Is this yours?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
sweet.
got to do it more consistent.
No, it was great.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
And
thank you, man.
I guess I'll see you
Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Friday. Yep.
Cory?
Yeah.
How you doing, Jerry?
Hey, how's it going? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm going to have to figure out how you balance all this stuff with Maryland and Virginia. And
I don't.
no? All right. My producer, heads up. You can go ahead and step on in. Hey, Jack. Jerry Shank's going to be joining us here, so we'll roll in again. You hear me? Workout day continues here at the 2024 Prep Baseball Future Games. Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma all currently out in action. And a little bit later, we'll bring you Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. And meanwhile, our parade of Prep Baseball state directors, players, and other luminaries continues with Jerry Shank, Maryland and Virginia state director. Jerry, thanks for coming by. Good to see you. And welcome to LakePoint Sports.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really excited. My favorite week of the year, as always, and it's just continues to get better every year.
So I want to dive in a little bit to your rosters, but a little bit, you guys have had the team Mid-Atlantic before.
Yep.
We got Maryland and Virginia with their own standalone teams. You guys also have some, obviously, the senior future games teams, the junior future games. How do you, at the 16U level now, balance this to have both Maryland, Virginia, and Delaware all represented?
Well, it was a little bit easier because in the past because we all did multiple states, we were able to do multiple teams for the younger groups. So we've had this experience before with, so many teams. So it's been a little bit easier on my side now with Jamie Nail and Jason Burton doing their own teams, now having all responsibilities for all of those teams. It's been a little bit tougher for them. So I've been trying to help them, kind of go through it. But it's been really good. Like the players, getting everybody here has just been a great experience for them. And again, we're just really excited to be here, and I know all the kids are extremely excited.
Let's go through the pitching rotation. Let's start off with Maryland first, and we spend a little bit more time with you, obviously, with a couple teams. But Aiden McCauley, Oziah Kelly, Pierce Quinn, and Arian Vargas. I think Oziah Kelly is going to be one of those guys that absolutely every college coach here is going to be trying to leave with that guy's cell phone number. But let's start off with Aiden McCauley, and we'll get to Oziah in a second. Why is Aiden leading things off on Thursday?
Aiden's a really good tone setter. He's a strike thrower, and I obviously, knock on wood, don't want to mess up anything. But he just attacks the strike zone, upper 80s, might touch a 90 here. But he's been really good watching him big games. He always rings the bell. So one thing I have learned with the future games is that can really set a good tone for the entire week for your team. We've had years where that guy who starts it off just really he sets the tone for the whole week. We've had the opposite happen where it's just been a little bit more of a struggle, and it can affect. So, we want to have somebody who's going to be pounding the zone and attacking, and Aiden fits that perfect.
So we got him around 89. You mentioned him touching 90. I think we always talk about the adrenaline. What's that going to mean for a kid when they see all those college coaches back there? Are you expecting him? Maybe it gets into 91. Maybe we're talking a little bit higher than he's seen in the past. Or, do you even start to dream on that kind of stuff?
You definitely do. You want to. You hope it happens. But, it's just what the kids got in them. And, that adrenaline is definitely going to kick in, seeing all them, that excitement. So, you hope it's going to happen.
Let's talk Oziah Kelly, the #1 player in Delaware in the class. 91 mile an hour on the fastball for him. He's got the changeup, the curveball, the slider that's just absolutely wicked. Exit velo is 93. Bat speed up around 70 miles an hour. This guy, I think, has the potential 2A. Do you see him more of a righty arm? What do you think the future is for Oziah Kelly?
You know, I think it's still up in the air. It just really depends. You know, with college coaches, they're gonna find a certain thing that they like more than another, and I think that's the great thing about Osai is he just gives you a ton of options. I love his pitch ability. I love his athleticism. I think he's got a high ceiling still offensively, but I just love the polish and what he's been able to accomplish so far on the bump already. He's got command. And what I really like, you don't see it enough, is just a pitcher who's able to throw a changeup effectively. And it's a very good pitch. One of my favorite pitches in the state, to be honest with you, is his ability to throw that changeup. And, you know, he does a great job. He does a great job with it. He's like you said, he's going to interest a lot of people here. I think he's going to it's going to be a very good week for him.
We just wrapped up the MLB draft. Jack Caglione obviously goes extremely early out of Florida, and he was drafted as a two-way. And I think when you have so many guys here that are still believing that they can do both things effectively, how much do you think like that? How far does something like that go when we're talking about it at this kind of level, when these guys are still trying to figure out, well, what am I going to be at the next level? Do you think that matters to these guys when they kind of see the path being written by a guy that's now getting an opportunity to potentially be doing that again at the major league level?
You know, I think I think it really depends on each player if they can handle that workload. And you'll see that they see that once they get to college, just how much is required to be able to do that. It's dedication, it's commitment. And it's something that I don't think they truly understand until they're at the collegiate level. Just the workload that goes in it, the extra time that you got to do on your own with your other position, just because you're not allowed. Like, coaches can't do it; they physically can't be there, so they have to depend on you to have that responsibility. So it's up to the player if he wants to own that and do it, run with it, because they're going to give him that opportunity. Especially a player like an Osayo, and there's a lot of other guys that that are going to be at this event that have that same potential.
Pierce Quinn going to get the ball after Isaiah Kelly on Thursday, coming in as the third-ranked right-hander in Maryland, 8th overall. Fastball, we're getting into the 90s with him, the 6'2", 195-pounder out of John Carroll. What did you like about the arm?
I just see there's more there. Like, it's a pretty free arm action, and it's got one of those frames that you can dream on. It's a durable pitcher's frame, and the way the arm works, he's got long levers. Like, you look at it and you see, hey, there's more there, and that's really what intrigues me, because I mean the kid's already low 90s, and you see that and you're like, okay, there's probably going to be some more there. That's really what gets me excited about a young man like him.
Yeah, Arian Vargas, by the way, going to be the last guy on the mound for you scheduled at this point on Thursday at Archbishop Spalding. 6'1", 206-pounder. Second-ranked righty in Maryland, 3rd overall. He's already into the 90s, nationally ranked 77th. How do you think he's going to handle the opportunity when he gets the ball?
I think this is something he's going to embrace. He's in a program traditionally across one of the better programs, I think, definitely in our region. They play a very tough schedule. He's somebody who's had, they've had a tradition of really strong arms come through there, and it's something he's been able to learn from them as well, seeing how they handle themselves. In years past, there's Parker Thomas, who, went off to the next level, and then, Jake this year. His last name's escaping me at the moment, but just commitment after commitment, really big time arms. I think he's going to handle it, and this is kind of his coming out party too. I think too. It's really, they're going to be able to see this young man on a full scale.
Friday will be Vincent Evans III, Bo White, Trenton Uke, Alex Gannon, and then Saturday you guys will go with Johnny Hobgood, Christopher Moxley Jr., Robertson, and Jacob Capone. I always find it interesting from a state director's standpoint. You put together a team when you're working with the local guys, those boots in the ground. When you kind of look at the makeup of a team, are there guys that you feel like from a pitching standpoint, it's like, okay, this is a guy that I'm going to get in here, and I don't think anybody's really talking about this guy yet, but I think when they leave, they will be.
All the time. All the time, and that's what drives me, is finding that guy that nobody's been able to see yet, and try to get them in front of everybody, all these eyes and ears. This year I think we've got a lot of those on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday. I think we got a lot of guys that are that projection type arm that's going to just continue to get better. The sky's the limit. We've had flashes, we've had glimpses of it, and it's just something on that consistency level, getting it all the time. And so a lot of those arms I think are really, really intriguing, and might even be more fun to watch than just the first day, where you got some guys who they've proven it with the velo already. The other ones, they're going to get there with it. It's just a matter not if but when.
your own experience at Division I included stints at University of Hartford, North Carolina Central University, and Canisius College. You were with Sean Newcomb, and part of him winding up at Hartford. Obviously, goes on to be a first-round pick by the Angels. Winds up in here in Atlanta with the Braves. I was a Braves reporter for 12 years and spent a lot of time around Sean, who would come back from almost every road trip with boxes of shoes because apparently he had a little bit of a problem that he would put them back in his locker so his wife didn't have to see all the shoes that he had that he was hoarding. But tell me a little bit about trying to see a guy that you think has the potential to reach those kind of heights. I mean, can you tell early on in an arm and say, okay, I think there's something here that can be unlocked, and we're talking about a potential guy who can make it to the majors?
Oh man, you know, if I knew the perfect answer for that, I probably wouldn't be here right now. You know, but I think there are traits, and there's little things that kind of come together. You know, Nuke, for instance, he was just a really good body. The arm was loose, but he played multiple sports. He played basketball and football in high school, and that's a big thing for me too. If I see that athleticism, I see the ability, the numbers already show. If I know they're playing multiple sports, that usually tells me, hey, there's a good chance everything's going to get better once we focus on it. First thing, and then you know I ended up leaving when Nuke came on campus, and the first text I got was, hey, who's this lefty? He's already 92. And I was like, it just happened, like right when he was there. But he just started focusing on it. But you see that when you're looking for a player. That's something I really like to see. Really athleticism is big for me. How easy can they do it? And then the last thing for me is, you know, are they going to take over a game? You watch players, and if they can just show at that game, hey, I'm the best player here, they kind of play that drive. They don't scream it, but they show it. You know, that's something that really jumps out for me as well.
One of the things I loved about him was the composure. I don't think you ever knew whether he was winning or losing. He just always had the exact same look on his face no matter what. It was just, I think one of those traits a pitcher has to be able to flush away failure. And if you never even show it on your face to begin with, I think, yeah, that certainly plays well. Let's switch over to the Virginia team and go through the rotation there. Aiden Gallagher, Carter Purdue, Drew Christine, and Aaron Dirks is going to be on the mound on Thursday. Which one of those arms to you really do you think has kind of breakout potential when we talk about Thursday's game?
Oh man, you know, I'll go with Aiden Gallagher just because it's still relatively new for him on the bump. He has always been a really, really good catching prospect. He's going to two-way for us as well, behind the dish, play some at first. And I'm kind of using that as a cop-out because I think Dirks, Christine, and Purdue, I really like their potential on the bump. They've all got pitch ability. They play in the very competitive baseball and with the conference. Christine I like because he's a long, loose lefty. But Gallagher, I'll go with him because it's still relatively new. The miles are low, so the upside is high, and he's already shown the arm strength there.
Your Friday rotation: Jaden Davis, Jalen German, Evan Salafka, and Shata Fogus, and then Saturday Dylan Amos, Matthew McCulley, Mark Van Toyle, and Ethan Hudson. How do you guys kind of balance out the workload for these events? I mean, you're in terms of, you know, how many innings the guy's going to get. I know some teams will maybe go with 3-4 guys. You'll see some will have, you know, maybe 6 pitchers that they're going to use. They might use guys against a couple days. How do you guys kind of balance that?
Well, so what we try to do is we try to balance it between basically everybody's going to get about 2 innings. We want to keep them, you know, above 20, below 50. 40, 45 pitches kind of around there. So we try to give everybody 2 innings when we're doing this. We're also in a good situation because we're, you know, regionally we're pretty close. This is a hop, skip, and a jump for Virginia kids. They enjoy coming down to this beautiful place. And so it's easier to be able to get these kids to come down. But we try to keep them to that 2 innings so we can, you know, keep it even and then give them a good pitch load.
Tell me about Medella Broman, a guy who's the number 1 ranked outfielder in Virginia, 6th overall, 60 time around 6.65. He's got exit velos in the mid-90s, bat speed up around 75. Looks like there's a lot to like in the player.
There's a ton to like, and it's a tremendous upside too. Like, he's still getting better. He's still finding himself as a player, which is the scary thing, because like that athleticism and just his pure ability is. It's really, I think it's special. I really think he falls into that category, somebody who's got that special ability. He just continues to grow. There's a lot I like about his game. So very excited to see how he does on a scale of an event like this with, you know, everybody's really, really good.
A couple of two-ways that's at rankings. Brady Elrod, who's the 68th ranked outfielder in the nation, 359 overall. And then you got Will Yao, second ranked shortstop. Both two-way guys. at the high school level. How do you guys kind of look at that for the feature games and say, you know what, I know you like to get on the mound at the high school level, but I think maybe here you're better off maybe showing out as a position guy?
Yeah, and that's really, it's a crazy balance. You know, I've had a year in the future games where I brought a two-way in and I said, you know, I don't think you're quite ready to pitch. I just want you to do positionally. And he went to WVU and pitched for, 3 years. Didn't hit. So, I'm an idiot. But no, I think it's something where you look at them and really we're just trying to compare and contrast the ability of each player, what's going to be the best fit for them to succeed the most. And some guys, we want them just to focus positionally because we like that upside as a position player. We don't want them to worry about the mound. We just want them to be positionally, to play the position, to get the ABs. Don't worry about pitching, how their arm feels, just focus on that one area. And if it happens when they move on to the next level, hey, that's great.
I had Brett Harrison in here for the Nevada game last year. They were playing against California. They ended up having to go with a pitcher who hadn't pitched in 2 years, and they just threw him in. He ends up going 91. 2 days later, he's got a scholarship to UCLA. So, you never know how things are going to play out of this event.
Oh, yeah. Hey, 3 years ago, James Wood, when he was there, I guess it was 19 or 20.
Yeah, it would have been 20, yeah.
He came here, and he was like, hey, can I pitch? And I was like, do you pitch? Well, I just want to. I want to see if I can hit 90, 91. All right, man. I think we got an inning. We made it happen. Sure enough, he went in there, and he was all fired up because, he just had the juices flowing where that's what he wanted to see. He wanted to make sure he could, accomplish that and get it out. It was kind of knocked it off the checklist. But, yeah, he just came out and did it, got guys out. It was 90, 91, I think.
So that would have been the 2019 feature games. We had him here in 2020 for the area code games, which was shortly after I started here. When you see a guy like that that's doing what he's doing now, I mean, one, I think it almost has to kind of be like when a band gets big and you're like, I knew them when. I mean, it kind of has to be a little bit of that.
For sure. I remember when he first came, the very first event, he got there and he showed up, and we were in the middle of it because we had him kind of staggered in arrival times. So he shows up and just long, loose. I'm like, holy cow, who is this young man? And he gets on the field and I was like, hey, James, are you loose? You good? And he was like, yeah, I'm fine. He came in, he threw, he's like 88, 87, 88. And he's like, yeah, I didn't really throw that much. I'm like, holy cow. This is awesome. I was like, this is awesome. But, yeah, you see that, and you look for those traits. You look for the twitch, how quick their hands work. I really like just watching the swing path and how their hand-eye coordination is. And you can tell pretty quickly, especially with somebody like him. You just saw that upside, and you knew when it all got together, there was going to be something special, and now you're seeing it.
Yeah, Shooter Hunt and I went back and did a coffee and curveballs off that 2019 group that just had so many guys that ended up. I think he said there was 12 draft picks there so far, and he expects there's going to be tons more, but just the names that were popping out. We had a number of those guys who ended up being drafted just last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, I think it all kind of just speaks to how this event, especially now when we're going to, because the level of guys you got now because of the recruiting changes is going to be completely different than what we had 5 years ago. But you're also talking about guys 5 years ago that are now all becoming household names. So I think it really sets the stage for this next few days could just be, in hindsight, could be massive.
For sure. Going to be a ton of fun, and that's the beauty of it because we get that ability to watch these guys at a little bit of a younger age and kind of see their trajectory. And so that's the exciting part, is seeing that and seeing it go, and like you're saying with 19, we had some guys who went right out of high school, like Merrill, he was just a young kid, but you saw the foundation there, and then all of a sudden he just picked it up, and that was him. That was all him. He had it there, but he had the drive to do it. Griff O'Farrell this year, same thing. You saw it there. I knew with him, once the more people got to watch him, the more they would fall in love, and that definitely happened. And so that was great for him. But you're going to see that here. There's going to be these guys that this is a good time in their life to figure out, hey, how much harder am I going to work now? Now I've seen the players that I'm playing with and playing against. We're all really good. What's going to separate me, and how am I going to get better and push myself to be that next level type player?
Yeah, you talk about Jackson Merrill, James. We really got to get Sean Duncan to do some kind of a commercial with all these guys. You can't have all these names coming through these doors and graduating on from the feature games to the major league level and not taking advantage of it. I think something's got to happen there.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to name drop just because it was really fun. It was really fun. We had such a good team that year, so I just wanted to do that.
And I think it's a point of pride for you guys. I love to talk locally here with Hudson Graham about that. It's like you're putting guys out there that they're out there trying to do the best for themselves. They're representing you a little bit, too, because you got some stock in what happens to them here and what happens to them at the next level.
Absolutely. And that's, like I said, that's just what makes it so much fun, is watching them and watching them continue on.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Jerry Shank, thank you so much, man. Best of luck to you and your team the next few days. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to let you take a look at everything going on at Workout Day, and we'll be back shortly with more action here from Lake Point Sports. Cory McCartney now joined by our own Grayson Rosen. And Grayson, you've been going around the workouts here during this first early session, and it's starting to get a little bit of sprinkles out there. It's something we obviously don't want to see. There's like I think about a 50% chance of rain today. It's going to increase a little bit over the next couple days. But obviously going out there, getting to see these guys, with the running the 60, doing the batting practice, the infield, outfield throws, kind of some observations from what you've seen of these guys trying to make the most of the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't gotten any names just yet, but I've seen quite a few 60s, and it's really just amazing to see all these guys come together. You see so much camaraderie between these teammates, even between different states teams kind of coming up and talking to each other, because a lot of these guys, they run into each other at these kind of tournaments and of course, events like Future Games. So these guys all kind of know each other, or they're just meeting for the first time, and it's a really fun thing to see, and it kind of translates when they're out there on the field going. You've got, a guy maybe running a 60, and a couple of the guys from his state are hyping him up when he's getting ready to go or anything like that. So it's been really fun to see all this. This is my first time being around it, so I've really enjoyed it. We've gotten the chance to talk to a couple people as well, so it's been really fun. It's a really fun, just constantly something to watch is the best part.
Yeah, and this is just part of it because they're also doing visual edge testing over at the Champion Center, which you see in the top right corner, which is Field 10 in the Champion Center in the background. So there's inside there, they're doing some cognition testing. So kind of just part of it. They try to get, as I mentioned from the get-go here in our broadcast today, it's not just about the gameplay, right? It's about the full scope photo of the player, the whole frame of who this guy is. Beyond just what they're able to do within a game. And I know some guys really get up for the showcase environment. Some guys, feel like, well, I don't necessarily feel like that's how is the best version of me. I'm more of a game flow kind of a player. So I think that's something interesting to kind of watch unfold and, kind of just how these guys are kind of approaching it. Because tomorrow will be different because you'll have, once the gameplay starts, there'll be so many scouts packed out within one area behind home plate, and obviously could be a nerve-wracking experience for the pitchers to be back there, but that will obviously be a little bit different than what we're seeing right now. And I know you and Anna Bellinghausen were able to kind of go out and talk to some of the guys. What were kind of the reactions? Did the guys seem loose? Did people seem like they were a little bit, amped up on edge? How would you kind of quantify it?
So it's been different. So we've been doing a couple interviews where kind of the ones that we'll be showing throughout the broadcast here, where we find a guy, pull him to the side and like stand there, and Anna does like a mic interview, like kind of passing it back and forth. And those guys typically have been like they're trying to be a little more buttoned up, and I think that's just natural for any of those guys. You put a big professional camera in their face, and they just immediately are like, okay, I have to be professional. But we've also gone around and done a couple of fun things where we're just like asking some like fun, loose questions with just like a phone camera and a phone lav mic. And those have been super fun. The guys get super loose. Like anybody will walk up and just have like the most ridiculous answers, or you'll get the reactions of all their teammates to all their answers. So it's kind of been a little bit different on each end, but either way, it seems like the guys are just having fun.
Yeah, right now we've got Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma across the north quad of fields now. No action currently on Field 10, but then we will soon turn things over to the second group of the day, which is Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. I know those Georgia kids, they feel like they kind of have to put on a show. They're kind of the de facto home squad here at LakePoint Sports. I know Hudson Graham and Ian Smith putting together that team. They kind of feel a little bit more I guess, duty, the best version, the one that's going to maybe be the most dominant team across these next few days. And they've got a pretty great squad that I'll be able to talk to Hudson with about here shortly. And the rain's starting to come down a little bit more. But take us inside. When you and Anna were running around, I know you've got a couple interviews to set up for us. So going to take us inside the first one.
Yeah, so the first one that we did was over by Kansas right after he ran his 60, unfortunately. We walked over there, and he had just ran a 60. And we're like, hey, man, can we get you for an interview? He was like, well, could I catch my breath? And we were like, yes, definitely. But we got to catch up with Carson May from Kansas. He was a fantastic interview, and here's Anna Bellinghausen talking to him.
Now joined by Carson May out of Kansas. Carson, how exciting is it to be here at LakePoint with all this talent across the nation?
It's really good to be here and around all the talent, the coaches and everything. Just great being here.
What do you hope to showcase most throughout these next few days?
Probably my hitting, great swing, maybe my catching skills too, like pop time, feet, everything like that, yeah.
Where do you feel like you've grown the most over the past couple of years now going into your junior high school season?
Definitely my swing. I've had some great coaches coaching me, helping me out. I've had a lot of help this summer, so
There's going to be hundreds of college coaches watching all these guys. How do you hope to stand out?
just hit my best, do my best, great attitude, all over.
Yeah, what kind of mindset do you go into this with just the pressure? How do you look at it?
Try not to think about it. I just think of it a normal game and just play my best and try not to think about it.
All right, last one. What are you most looking forward to throughout this whole process?
Just being with the people here and the great competition and the pitching and everything like that.
Carson, thanks so much for the time and best of luck.
Great stuff there, Grayson, with you and Anna out and about across the baseball village here on this workout day, again, at LakePoint Sports, the 2024 Prep Baseball Feature Games. Right now, again, we have Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina will fill up the noon to 1:30 window. So I see some more activity across campus going on right now, and rain is kind of starting to fall, but I think we're going to avoid anything too bad. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'll be joined by Lash Henderson, the #1 player in the class of 2027, who's already put up some impressive numbers for Texas here during workout day. performance at the workout. Lash Henderson out of Prestonwood Christian Academy playing for Texas, #1 player in the class of 2027. Lash, man, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you doing this.
Well, thank you for having me.
So let's talk about the workout showcase day atmosphere. How do you approach something like this? Do you get amped for it, or do you feel like maybe you're more of a game flow guy? How do you feel about the showcase environment?
Yeah, I get a little nervous sometimes, but then once I get on the field, I feel like I've been training for this my whole life, so I feel like it's just a breeze once I get on that field.
So my guy Riley Klingman had you mic'd up, and he told me a great story about you running the 60 that you said if you got a PR, you were going to treat yourself to Chick-fil-A. So then you go out and rip off a 6.52, which is your fastest time. So now what are you going to go get from Chick-fil-A?
Oh, I just went to Chick-fil-A.
You did?
I just
Okay,
came
what'd you
back
get?
from
What'd you get?
Chick-fil-A. I just got a Sunjoy and some chips and fries. Yeah, because I had already ate before I ran, so I didn't get anything big.
But you set the standard. I got to go out and I got to do this if I'm ready. All right, and he also told me the grip strength: 180.5 with the right, 177 with the left. Both of those are the highest of the day. Had you ever done anything like that before?
I did it at Marucci, and I saw I did like a 180 on my right, and I was lower on my left, but I had to like start working on my left. Yesterday I was in the gym doing the little forearm
curls, yeah.
So I was working on it.
How much weight were you using for those?
I was using like 40.
Okay, you weren't using these. You can put the bar behind you. The bar
But
behind you do it.
They didn't have any
Okay.
in the hotel, so I just used some dumbbells.
So you were here in 2022 for the junior feature games. Tell me how different it was, the experience being part of the feature games as opposed to the junior feature games.
Well, now that I've been in the game way longer now, I feel like I know a lot more people, way more competition. When I was here in 2022, I was playing with a class up. I was playing with the 26s, and it was good competition, but not as good as right now. And you got these 26s trying to get offers. They got their August 1st day coming up, so they're really trying to compete with you. So it's really good to get out there.
Yeah, that's an interesting point of this, right? Is because you're 2027, so it can be like, hey, you see me, I'll see you in a year. I mean, it's almost like you're playing a trick on these college coaches that they get to go out and be like, man, I want to call Lash Henderson. I got to wait a year to do that. You're being this is cruel what you're doing to the coaches now.
Yeah, they see me in there. Some people that see me, they're thinking I'm a 26. Even the guy that mic'd me up, he thought I was a 26. But yeah, I still got another year.
So how are you going to approach this next year then? I mean, you're doing a lot of this stuff now. I mean, you're obviously watching these guys go through it, and you're seeing them just be days away from being able to talk to coaches and get those offers. Are you looking forward to that kind of craziness, or do you like this point now where it's like, well, I just get to kind of focus on ball and not have to worry about all that other stuff?
Yeah, I like the ball play because before they made that rule, it was a lot of calls I had to make every week, just every day, making calls. I just want to play. But next year, I'll just take my time, listen to everybody, and see what's best for me.
Yeah, in hindsight, are you glad that you didn't pull the trigger on a commitment when you still could have, kind of now with everything slowing down now, and you get to be like, okay, man, now you just get to just kind of take a step back.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't commit because I just don't see the point when I'm in 7th or 8th grade. I get to see my options once I get to junior year and see what's best for me.
Yeah, a lot of guys change. I mean, the coaches obviously change. I mean, there's no guarantee that if you were committed to a school, in 7th, 8th grade, that by the time you're a senior, that the same coach is going to be there. So, I mean, obviously the landscape of college sports can change. The landscape of a team can change. Tell me about coming through on this team with this Texas team. I know you got one of your teammates in here, Trent Velade, right-handed pitcher, number 3 right-handed pitcher in the state of Texas. Tell me, what do you think we're going to see out of him when he gets on the mound in game action?
Oh, my God. He has great stuff. His secondary is really good, and he's got really good command with his stuff, and he can actually really hit, too. Like, he was one of our best hitters on our team. He was very consistent at the plate.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the 4th pitcher on Thursday. Trey Rangel, Matthew Manis, the 3rd, and Landon Brown are also going to pitch that day. On the topic of Trey Rangel, I'm supposed to talk to Trey tomorrow. Have you ever faced him before?
Yeah, I faced him this year in fall. We played him in a fall game, scrimmage type game, and I got a single off of him. But he was chucking it.
Yeah, they talk about the spin on him is ridiculous. The curveball's around 3,000 spin.
Yeah.
How hard is it to pick up something like that when it's coming in with that much rate?
After I saw the first pitch, I just had to keep my feet down. I was just swinging. Just trying to get a good swing off. You can't really do too much when you're facing a good pitcher like that.
You've been here quite a bit this summer. We were talking about whether you even went home because we had you here during some of the national championships. Obviously, playing up with USA Prime, you guys went on a run. I know that was a tough finale for you guys, losing in the championship game. You guys had, Landon Green started off with a great game. You guys ended up losing that one, but. Being here a few years ago, being here now, what's kind of been your reaction to the new look fields? Everybody can see these across all the fields up there with the new lines on them. We went through this winter. They were completely ripped down to the concrete. It took about, 47 days to get these things back up to the point where we were able to get playing on them again. What's kind of been your reaction to them? How do they play?
They play really good. They play medium. The turf plays medium to slow. I thought this was the best field I ever played on, even before the renovation. But now it's like definitely the best I've played on, and I've played on a lot of fields, so that says something.
When are you going to kind of take a step back from a playing standpoint and kind of let your body heal and recover? Like, what's that process for you?
So I get like a week off after this, and then I have to go to area code. So August, September, I'll let my body rest and just chill, just do basic training.
And then you'll ramp it back up around December, January? Is that kind of the
December,
normal?
January.
Yeah. So we talked about this in an interview you and I did, but your dad's a Big 12 football official. What's the football watching like for you? Do you watch the games your dad does, or do you kind of have like, I don't know if you're a Longhorns fan, A&M, like what's that Saturday routine for you?
I'm a Longhorns fan, college football fan, so I really watch their games, and sometimes I'll turn his game on. Especially when he's reffing the Longhorn games, I pretty much go to all those games. Last year I went to the FSU-LSU game he did the first week at Camping World in Orlando.
Do you tell him, you screwed that call up?
I don't really talk about it. When I'm there, sometimes his crew will make a call and they're booing him, and I just start laughing. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, so he probably wants you to let him leave work at home. Do you guys, what's it like from a baseball standpoint? Do you guys kind of leave it on the field? Do you guys, collectively as a family? I know your mom, your little brother plays too. What's that dynamic like for you guys? Do you leave baseball on the field, or is it something that you guys talk about stuff with it, at the dinner table and when you guys are out and together?
Yeah, we talk about it at home. They really don't get on me too much because they know this is a game of failure. They just try to work with me with the approach and my mental side of the game, because you got to be mentally tough for this game, or else it'll weed you out.
Yeah, and you got, I hate putting this stuff on you, but you go into a place as the number one player in 2027. There's expectations and weight that comes with that. So how do you kind of approach that when it's like you don't get – some of these guys get to walk onto the field and they just get to walk on. You got to walk on, and it's like, oh, that's Lash Henderson.
Yeah, I just try to do as best as I can and just think that I'm the same as everyone else and just do what I can at the best rate I can.
And how do you what do you kind of credit that to? Is that your parents that you feel like they've helped to keep you humble, or where do you think that comes from?
Definitely my dad. My dad's a very humble person. He's a little, he doesn't talk much, but he talks. But yeah, I got my humble side from him. My mom is humble, but he's just very humble.
Are you a leader? I say that because a lot of times you are playing up with older kids. Do you allow leadership to come naturally, or do you feel like you kind of, I don't say insert yourself, but kind of define yourself as a leader?
Well, this year I tried to be a leader for USA Prime, and I felt like it just came naturally, and I think I did a pretty good job. We just won the WWA, and I felt like I did good getting our boys up and being a leader.
Well, great stuff. Lash Henderson, you're going to see him show out all weekend long here at LakePoint Sports, so if you're able to check it out, get out here on campus and see him in action. Lash, man, congratulations on a great day at workout day, and best of luck all weekend.
Thank you.
That was great, man. Extravaganza continues here. Sean Duncan, Prep Baseball president and founder, joining us now. Sean, welcome in, man. We've been hosting a party. You're supposed to be the grand marshal, and we were hosting this party without you.
I feel super guilty. I missed my first assignment, so please don't take it personally.
So let's go Ryan Roper to Danny Wallace, and this I think has to feel like the biggest future games ever. One, because you've added the senior games division, so there's so many more college coaches expected to be here over the next 5 days. And obviously the changes in the recruiting dynamic have allowed for an entirely new class of player to be here. How excited were you to get down here for this event?
It's always, it's so much fun because there's kids want to be here. You know, college coaches want to be here. It's like really their first intimate look at these guys now with the rule changes. And, you know, we're fortunate that this event is now, knock on wood, has been bookmarked on people's recruiting calendars. And with the recruiting changes, you know, we've always had a history of great players here, but now I think the floor has been raised significantly because usually 20% of the top more famous guys have been already committed, and now like roster spots are few and far between. So we expanded the future game team pool too. So we split, you know, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska. They have an MVP seemingly every year. So, you know, we separated them. We separated the Carolinas because this is a destination event, and we want more kids showing what they can do. But yet we were still hyper aware of, like, hey, you don't want to water it down too much, and then it's not going to be, well, lose the impact. And, I mean, just looking at the first 3 hours or 4 hours of workouts, holy smokes. I mean, just the physicality. I mean, have you seen many 15-year-olds look like Lash Henderson?
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he was. We were going through the metrics on what he turned in this morning. He ran the fastest 60 he's ever ran at 6.52. He measured at 180.5 grip strength on his right,
cow.
177 on his left. He told me that he went to another event and didn't really like his numbers, so he's been working on his forearm strength. He's even doing stuff in the hotel last night, and he has numbers which are both tops for the day. And the worst part, I told him, is these college coaches got to look at you and be like, I gotta wait a year.
Yeah.
You know, he's a 27. He's here, and he's forbidden fruit. You gotta put it off.
I mean, I was like, am I watching Chad Ochocinco on the baseball field right now? Yeah, I mean, that's some freakish grip strength there. In addition to the fact, what the number that I heard was 10% body fat. And
wow.
I know, I mean, I'm at 8%. So, I mean, you can laugh out loud if you want. Yeah, that's impressive stuff.
Yeah, and he's got a little brother who's coming up too, so 13-year-old. So we'll be probably having the same conversation again.
Little
in a few
brothers are
years.
always better than the big brothers.
That's right.
Too.
Yeah, well,
always.
that's saying something if he's going to have a little brother that's better than him. I mentioned Danny Wallace, MVP a year ago, most valuable player, obviously most valuable pitcher. Last year was Eston Simpson here in Georgia. Danny Wallace going to be on his way to the All-American game in September in Miami. When you see a guy that's made that jump, when you see a guy who comes to the feature games, MVP, and then we're talking about him, I mean, it's only obviously the second year, but going on to the All-American game, I mean, that says a lot about what this event is and what the state directors are providing for these kids opportunity-wise.
And, you know, again, another wasn't a super famous guy. I mean, people in the Midwest knew who he was. You know, if you have that kind of tools, which he did and does, and, you know, so he showed it off during workout days, so he was one of the big workout winners, BP, running, all that stuff. But then tools are one thing, but you got to get stuff done in games too, and that's what matters. And, I mean, crushed in games, also pitched and was 90, which was kind of – and at this stage, you're like, we can't give it to another Rob Allison coach team. So you want to – it's going to his head, but, man, like, how do you not give it to him when he did it in all phases of the game? So super excited for the kid. And I'm excited for all these kids that go through here. And you know, someone was just asking me, like, who's the biggest breakout player here? And it's like, you know, it's a really hard question to answer. But, you know, you're like, oh, yeah, Jackson Merrill was here. You're like, and I'm like, yeah. And so I went back through my notes like 5 years ago, and I'm like, okay, Mid-Atlantic. And it's like 5'11", 165, really smooth left-handed swing, but something that doesn't jump off the page, right? There's a lot of those guys here. And it's like, oh, yeah. And it just goes to show, like, people's maturation, people grow at different stages. And he definitely hit a growth spurt, definitely grew into his athleticism. And, I mean, starting center fielder in the big leagues. And so, like, runaway rookie of the year so far, I think. So.
Yeah, Shooter Hunt and I were doing a coffee and curveballs on the 2019 team, and then Jerry Shank had to bring up James Wood. Obviously, he was part of that team as well. So he's like, I have to name drop when we have those kind of names to drop. I mean, those are a big deal to be able, you know, Griff O'Farrell and Jackson Merrill and you know, on and on and on for those guys. So that's a big talking point for them, obviously.
But it's so much fun. I mean, seeing, because there's a competitive level to it too. It's not just a standard showcase. It's like, hey, we're representing our state together, and obviously, the stakes are higher only because there's so many colleges here. So, but if I've seen some great players have bad weekends here, right? And it doesn't mean they're bad players. It's just that's the nature of baseball. We all suck at different times, and we're all great at different times. So, but it's a lot of fun though.
So the event records: fastball 95 miles an hour, Brendan Heiss in 2014. Infield velocity, Gatlin Pitts 96 mile an hour in 2022. Jason Delamar has the outfield velocity 97. Pop time, Cash Williams in 2022 178 to 185. Exit velo, Alex Stanwich, 106. 60 times 622, Nick Giamusti in 2019. If one of those were to fall today, and you had to put your money on one of those falling today, which stat leader metric in the annals of the feature games is going to fall?
What was the exit velocity?
106.
That'll break, probably. You know, people are training towards it a little bit more, and balls are, you know, just I've been sitting on some BP. Balls are flying. And I would go infield velocity. Infield, outfield velocity.
I've got, and I can neither confirm nor deny that there's been anything placed. Sports betting is not legal in the state of Georgia. Eli Sensabaugh from Indiana runs a 6.2560, and 6.22 is the record.
Well, let's hope. Hopefully, this new turf, this beautiful new turf, is hot when you run on it. So.
Yeah. Well, there's no smoking here at LakePoint Sports, so we got to make sure they're not going too fast on the turf. But the 4th-ranked shortstop in Indiana, number 22 overall in the Class A, 6.2560. So if you're looking for a guy who might be able to work his way into the event records, I think that might be a guy to talk about. Tell me about the transition that you guys – we've only done the most valuable pitcher the last 2 years. It was Eston Simpson in 2023, Mitch Haythorne out of Colorado in 2022. Why the decision to kind of break that up and have a pitcher and a most valuable player?
Because the pitchers just have, it's just a couple innings or 2 or 3 innings to really – so they're not going to get the – you have to break them out a little bit. I mean, it's similar to Cy Young MVP. I mean, certainly there's – and usually it's the – two-way guy that will have, because he does more. So it was probably well overdue, but it's just picking an MVP, picking a most valuable pitcher. It's just like you could put like 12 names in a hat or throw a dart. But I remember the Mitch Haythorne out of Colorado. It was really good, and a lot of it is like, hey, a good portion of these kids come in here pretty famous, like well known. Outside their little pocket, and they're highly ranked and all that stuff. And there's a large majority of these kids are like good players that blow off the map. And a lot of these kind of more regionally based recruiters hope that some of these guys don't perform well because it's like, who's this guy? Now, seeing guys at one clip and then saying, offering a scholarship at one look could be dangerous practice as well. And I know that happens a lot, but I mean, the world of recruiting is so much different now. It doesn't. I mean, it's crazy what's happening.
Yeah, and I got some time with Mitch Haythorne at Super 60, and because I spoke to him after he was named most valuable pitcher here, and I think for him to, he was a bit of an unknown, as you mentioned at that point, and then he ends up at Super 60. So I know it was certainly a star-crossed run for him as well. Adding the senior games division to this, I had a conversation with Hunter Martin from Tennessee about, you look at there's certain players who develop later. There's certain players who were just kind of overlooked in the process. Was that kind of what, in your mind, went into giving these guys that platform?
Partially, but mostly because, hey, the transfer portal has messed up everything for these seniors. I mean, and unfortunately, like, they're not a focus right now, right? So, people are going fishing in the portal, and so the recruiting of the rising junior senior, it's on 12 to 18 month delay. So there's so many players now, seniors, that would have been committed as sophomores now. So, I mean, a few of the directors were saying to me, like, hey, because I know we potted it up regionally this year because it's our first year. But, like, it could be a full-on event just with the seniors because the need is there. And it's not, hey, even as short as 3 years ago, if someone was uncommitted to, and he's like a mid-major or a high Division I player, that kid's committed. And now it's like more of those guys are uncommitted than they are committed. So it's the plight of the recruit, the high school recruit, is quite different.
And obviously, it's going to play into the strength of these JUCOs, Division 2, 3 NAIA schools. They're all going to have opportunities at players that maybe they didn't have a shot at before. These guys got to find a landing spot.
Yeah, I mean, the sad fact of the matter is the way things are today, is that mid-major, lower Division I school and the non-ACC, SEC, like those are like the new junior college. Like players who are under the radar would go to junior college and then they would be recruited. Now go to a mid-major school, put up big numbers, go to the portal, get paid, and if you're a recruiter, you would want to recruit that guy because he's performed at a college level. So unfortunately for the guys that develop and recruit these guys really well, you're probably not going to keep them. And that's how it is these days.
Well, it's certainly going to be a lot to watch over these next couple of days, and we got workout action going on across the North Quad of LakePoint Sports right now, joined by Prep Baseball president and founder Sean Duncan. Anna Bellinghausen was ranking her rounds around these workouts. She had a chance to catch up with Cooper Kardakis from Oklahoma. Let's go to their conversation after the workouts.
Alongside Cooper Kardakis at the Future Games, what does it mean to be here, Cooper, with all this talent?
It means a lot. I mean, I think it's the biggest event in the whole country, and to come back for my second time, I saw what it was last year, and it's honestly just unbelievable. All the coaches here, and just a chance to play in front of them is so cool.
What do you hope to showcase this year, Coop?
I just want to showcase that I play hard. I switch hit. I can play all around the infield, have a good arm, can run. Just ability to play hard and show the coaches that, like, I always play to win. I play hard, I work hard, and just be a positive impact on a team.
With hundreds of coaches in attendance, what kind of mindset do you come in with this just to keep the pressure off yourself?
I mean, obviously there's going to be a little pressure and a little anxiety, but I mean, it's baseball. You got to have fun, and so I mean, at the end of the day, you just have to trust the work that you put in, be confident, and just kind of not think about the coaches in the stand and just play your own game.
What have the drills been like so far?
Well, today we just started with the visual edge, and then we just ran, and then after this I'm gonna go hit. And so running was good, and then I'm excited to go take some BP in front of the coaches, and then we'll finish it off with some infield today.
All right, Cooper, last one. What are you looking forward to most throughout this process at LakePoint?
I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is playing in front of these coaches in the nicest ballparks around. So it would be really cool.
Well, best of luck. Thanks so much for the time.
Yep, thank you.
More reports from us all day long today. She'll also be joining us for our game action tomorrow during our broadcast. We'll have Maryland, Virginia, California versus Nevada, and Michigan against Pennsylvania. Sean Duncan will also be joining us for a couple innings there as well. So, Sean, I'm going to make you go back out into the wild here and be accosted by all your state directors. But thanks for the time, man. We'll be back with you tomorrow.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And that's Carson and Dominic, right-hander out of South Paulding. He's going to be suiting up for George's. He's got the first reaction when you saw the uniforms?
Oh, they're sweet. I mean, I like the designs on them. I like the colors. I think they look good.
Yeah,
they're going to look good tomorrow.
Last year they were all kind of the same color, black and whites, but this year I think they're a little bit. I like the design better, the rebrand from Prep Baseball, so it looks really good. So 5th-ranked right-hander in Georgia, 16th overall, number 62 in the nation at the position, 206 overall. Tell me how you mentally go into an event like this where you're going to get an opportunity to show out in front of, I mean, literally hundreds of college coaches.
I mean, just trust the training that I've put in, just going out there and just trying to perform for the team, give it 100%, and just have fun. Still a game.
Tell me a little bit about the arsenal. We had you this summer for 6'4", and I mean, it was staggering. I mean, we saw the fastball getting close to around that 90 mark, the changeup, curveball, slider. If you're ranking those secondary pitches, what's the best pitch, and which one do you think has the most room for improvement?
I think changeup is both. I think changeup's probably my best pitch. If it's on, I don't think it's hard to hit, and it also has a lot of room to improvement because it's on or it's off. So hopefully tomorrow it's on.
When do you know it's on?
In warm-ups. Normally, if I'm warming up and it's spinning off my hand right and I'm not dropping arm slot, it's on.
So if you're in warm-ups and it's not on, do you not lean on it as much as you would if it's off? I mean, if it is on, like how do you approach that aspect of it?
It's more of just a feel thing. Like my coach, he's a big believer, and even if it's not on, we're still throwing it. So it's really just trying to get the confidence in the pitch, whether it's on or off that day.
So you're leading things off during Thursday's game for Georgia, going to be followed by Jude Matthews, Drew Harmon, and Branson Crawford. Let's talk about some of these other pitchers. I know you know these guys. So tell me a little bit about what you're expecting that we're going to see, and we'll start off with Jude Matthews.
I mean, all three of them, especially him, he's a dog. I mean, I think it's going to be hard to hit us. We're going to have a good lineup going every game.
Yeah, there's obviously, you're not only, representing yourself out here trying to make the most of this opportunity, you're representing your state. So how do you guys kind of come together, and guys you know but haven't played together? What's that dynamic like, trying to build that chemistry quickly?
It'll be fun. I mean, it's going to be hard because, not everyone plays together, but I think we're all going in for the same goal, playing for Team Georgia. So hopefully we just bond together and have a good time. And we're all good, so we're just all going to go out there and play.
Do you guys feel a little bit more emphasis or, I guess, pressure because this is your backyard?
Yeah. I mean, we're just going out here and protecting our home. It's just what we're going to do.
And I'm sure Hudson Graham's kind of laid it out there. He's expecting wins with this team. So this is a group because he was with a lot of these guys during the junior feature games process and has watched them progress to this point. I know he's got expectations that you guys are going to perform well. Tell me about that, like when you found out that you were going to be part of this group, what your reaction was.
I was very honored. I mean, everyone works for it all summer. It's just the big goal of the year. So when I was told I was going to be on it, I was happy and ready to get after it.
Have you seen what it's like before, when guys are on the mound and all the scouts are back there? I mean, how do you talked about trusting the training. There's the mental side of that, though. Like, how do you kind of like, I guess, kind of like have tunnel vision and chamber that? Like, what's that process?
I mean, I haven't been in front of it, but I'm just going to try my best to just focus on the catcher and just try to let everything else just be what it is and just not focus on one pitch at a time.
I'm going to talk to Nealon Hulsey here in a moment. He's out there waiting, a catcher here in Rockmart. But the catchers have a really weird and interesting job in this atmosphere because they've got guys who are up there trying to run up a radar gun and going out there. They only get so much of an opportunity. Tell me about how long does it take for you to build that rapport with the catcher where they kind of understand how you work and you can get them to set up like you want them to?
I mean, we're just going to talk before the game. I mean, hopefully, everyone's good. So, I mean, it shouldn't be – no expectations are really low. I think everyone out there, all the catchers are going to be ready and be good. So I think they shouldn't have anything to worry about.
All right, tell me about riding this momentum into next season. Like, because we're to the point where a lot of guys are starting to ramp down, but this is like, I got to go show out one more time. When will that process for you kind of when you start to really rest that arm and start getting ready for the winter and then what comes next spring?
Probably right after this. I mean, this is the end of the season. It's been a long year. We've played with 643. We played about every weekend, so it's been a long year. But, I mean, we can't let down now. It's the biggest event here. I got to throw 2 innings. I got to give my best.
Yeah, and you guys down here in Georgia, when you think about players that are coming here from the Northeast, from the Northwest, you guys have probably played 50, 60 more games than they have at this point in the season. So there's a lot more wear and tear on the arms.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have a long fall to sit and break, but I got to give it all for these 2 innings tomorrow.
Did you have to kind of amplify any arm care then ahead of a moment like this, or did you change anything in your normal preparation?
I really didn't. I try to not do too much with it. Just stay how I normally am, looking up for a start for 643 just like this.
All right, Carson and Dominic ready to show out, starting things off for Georgia in Thursday's game action. Carson, man, wishing you the best of luck. Appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me.
Across his chest, but Nealon Hulsey out of Rockmart, Georgia, catcher representing the state of Nevada here for the future games. Nealon, man, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
So first and foremost, have you ever been to Nevada?
No.
But now you get like you kind of you're granted citizenship now. I think as you're going to be a part of Team Nevada here for the next couple of days. Tell me how this unfolded. You being a Georgia kid, getting to play for a different team at future games.
It's just talking to Hudson, just letting him know I wanted to be a part of this event, and he found a way to get me into it. Me knowing there was a shot that I could play for another state was just an awesome opportunity for me.
Yeah, kind of a cool thing for you to get to work with some different pitchers too. What's that dynamic you think going to be like? Because I was talking to to Carson and Dominic about this. These guys are going to go into this situation really trying to show out and trying to make the most of their opportunity. How do you kind of be that for that catcher, that pitcher, to just kind of allow him to be at his best and do your job?
Basically, just see what he likes the most and just understand what he throws in certain counts and just understand how to calm him down when he's struggling. And I know a lot of people are going to be here trying to run up the gun, but at the same time, just trying to dial him back in to throw strikes.
Yeah, you kind of have to be that calming presence for him, right?
Yes, sir.
So I mean, you have to go through that all summer long when you guys are obviously playing in the travel circuit. You feel like that's a strength for you behind the plate?
Yes, sir. I mean, I feel like I can command the field really well and calm pitchers down and just help them dial back into the zone.
I like to joke with you. It almost feels like you live here because you're constantly playing here. You know, we obviously see it with Rockmart here as well, the travel scene, and now you're here for the future games. You've seen these fields for years now, and we've obviously gone through a redesign on these fields with the resurfacing. What's kind of been your reaction to how they play now?
I love it. It's a lot. It's not as hot as it used to be with the dark turf, and now I just love how it's still hot, but at the same time, it's not. I feel like it's a lot cooler than being the dark turf and not being as hot.
Working with some kids from Nevada, they may not be used to this kind of heat. Hasn't been too bad today, but what's kind of been your as you get to kind of know these teammates, what's been the kind of the early conversations you've had with guys?
Just kind of understanding where they're at with how they train and just understanding how they are as a player.
So you obviously have the workout opportunity here. How do you approach a showcase? I know certain guys, kind of have their approach to it. Some guys say, I'm more of a game guy. I feel like my what I do shows out a little bit better in a game. Obviously, as a catcher, everybody loves those throwdown opportunities. Show off the pop time. But how do you kind of approach this?
I just try to be myself and just understand if I don't have. I'm a player. I enjoy showcase, but at the same time, everything shows out in the game. I feel like as any player would say. But I just try to be myself today and just enjoy the opportunity I get.
Well, the All-Star catching gear. I mean, I know they hooked you up for this event. So tell us about what we're going to see there.
You're going to see a little bit of everything. You're going to see a little bit of some camo and a little bit of baby blue.
So did they go through? So when did they kind of just send it to you? Do you kind of get to tell them a little bit of what you want? What's that process work?
I sat down in the off season and kind of designed the baby blue gear a little bit, and then not too long ago I kind of hooked it up with the camo and just. Hopefully it just looks good.
Tell me how that relationship started with you.
I've been wearing them since I was 9 years old and just absolutely love the gear. I ventured away a little bit when I was playing at East Cobb, but now I'm actually playing Rockmart, TL10, just understanding that I can wear my own stuff and just I have a little bit of design now into it. It makes it awesome.
Yeah, obviously you're talking about playing for TL10, a team that went on some nice runs here this past year. Tell me about that, about you guys kind of, that process when you get away from your family during the high school season. You guys have got a pretty strong one in the summer.
Yeah, we were really good, and we had a lot of top names. If you think about it, we had Trey Luke, 2026 pitcher, and then Reese Grodman, top 10 of the state. And then we just had a really good lineup throughout the summer, I feel like, and we always competed no matter what the situation was like. We never gave up.
So you're going to have a big year ahead for you as a player. Obviously, what unfolds here these next few days, and then the high school season ahead. Is the preparation going to be any different for you until that dream that you've got, that Division I dream, is met? Tell me what the process is going to be like.
Just trying to get bigger, stronger, faster. This off season, we have a great strength coach at our high school. Just he understands where I want to be at, and he knows what it takes to get me there. And just we have a lot of good guys at our high school, especially in Georgia commit Hunter Atkins, who is a great leader, and he's kind of took me back under his wing where we get to going, and it's kind of hard to stop us when we get going.
As a catcher, who do you kind of look up to? Are there certain guys at the major league level, collegiate level, that you kind of gravitate towards?
Big JT Romuto fan. I love the way he catches, and he's really mobile and has a really good arm.
So as you kind of progress yourself, there's not you get to a point as a player, I think, where the skill set is the skill set, and then behind the plate, you can only make so many adjustments within the pop time to get that number down. What are those kind of things for you? Is it the transition now? Is it the footwork? Like what are those points of emphasis for you right now?
A little bit of everything, but mostly just trying to get my arm stronger. But you can always get faster behind the plate, but I feel like the arm strength also has to play a little bit more.
And obviously, everyone loves that moment as a catcher where you get to do that throw down before everybody's going out to hit that inning. Do you completely show out what you've got in that moment, or do you hold anything back?
Early in the game, I'll hold back, but towards the end of the game, I'm starting to show it off a little bit more.
You're going to see if they run early, and you got a little bit held back in reserve. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll get to see that play out over the next couple of days. That's Nealon Halsey. He's going to be playing for Nevada these next couple of days, but you'll be finding him suiting up for Rockmart once again when the high school season comes wrapping around. Nealon, man, appreciate it. Best of luck the next few days.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on this.
Welcome back. And among the contingent here at Illinois is a familiar name for baseball fans, Landon Tomy, the son of Baseball Hall of Famer Jim Tomy. And we've got a couple interviews for you here. So let's get to know Landon, and then we'll have a little visit from his dad, the Hall of Famer.
Joined now by Landon Tomy. Landon, how excited are you to be at the Prep Baseball Future Games?
Oh, this is awesome. I want to thank Drew Lacasio for having me out here, and it's not only a good place to showcase my skills, but it's also a good place to meet new people that you don't really get to see during high school or summer ball. So just good to make connections with these guys that you don't usually get to see.
Yeah, and how about seeing how you stack up against some of the best talent in the entire nation?
Yeah, it's awesome to see all the other guys. They're all really good, and it's nice to be challenged by them, honestly.
What do you hope to showcase most to scouts and recruiters?
I want to showcase, I would say, probably my speed and my hit tool, because I think that's probably my two biggest strengths. But also I want to just challenge myself with these pitchers because they're all really good, and it's going to be fun to face them.
You're also doing all this in front of hundreds of college coaches. How do you keep your mindset calm, cool, and collected when you're going up with all this pressure?
Yeah, I mean, the college coaches are here, but honestly, while I'm playing, I try to block them out and play in between the lines. I try to block everything out, especially during high school, the other team and the other guys. I mean, it's nice to have the college scouts here, but honestly, I just want to play my own game.
Well, I know you have a great mentor on your side too. Your father, Jim Tomy, obviously a Baseball Hall of Famer. What has he meant to your baseball journey?
He's awesome. I mean, he's probably the best dad that you can ask for, because he really gives me tips that not other kids can get. So it's awesome to have that experience.
He's got a lot of accolades, but he's also an assistant coach for your high school team. Where do you think that ranks on his experiences in baseball?
It's probably on the lower side, but it's fun to have him in the dugout and talk to our guys and talk to me and just have him as a dad, honestly.
What's the best piece of advice he passes down to you?
He just says to always don't show emotion when you're playing and just try to be happy and have fun during the game. That's all that he tells me.
What are you looking forward to most here at LakePoint?
Just the games and, like I said, meeting these new guys and just getting to showcase my skills.
Well, Landon, thanks so much for the time and best of luck.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Alongside Hall of Famer Jim Tomy, you're here supporting your son Landon. Yes. How exciting is it to be here at the Prep Baseball Future Games?
I mean, it's great. What a beautiful facility, with all these talented kids that are obviously wanting to continue to just keep playing, right, and show their different sets of skills that they have. I love the vibe here. I love how it's been run. It's very organized and just a wonderful day, to be around it. I've always heard wonderful things about LakePoint, and now being here, I can see why it lives up to everything what people say.
So this ranks pretty high on your list.
It does. It does. We've been fortunate, I think, as parents, to be able to be a part of, the travel ball, the tournament process, and it's just what a cool thing that they're doing for these young kids.
Well, Jim, I also know you help coach your son in baseball. Yeah. How special is that to get to share the field with your son?
I think it's what you live for. You dream of playing a long time, as I was very fortunate, and then having kids, being retired and then being around the game and giving back to the game is so important. The high school kids they're like sponges. They soak everything up. They want to get better. They have this desire and this want to constantly improve. And I think as a ex-big league guy, sharing some of my knowledge and giving it back to them is just a joy.
How do you balance that with your son Landon too, and not trying to put that pressure on him of becoming a great baseball player and, filling in shoes and living up to expectations?
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing is just he's my son first. We're buddies, and I'm always there as a voice if he needs it. But he's just the biggest compliment I would give him. He's a wonderful kid. He loves to play the game, and he cares about his teammates. Truly, cares about the fact that camaraderie, as we all have in baseball, being a part of that is so great.
Well, he's about to embark on his recruiting journey as well. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. These kids, again, they work so hard, And the biggest thing is just enjoy it. Don't have any expectations. Go out, be who you are, know thyself, play your game of who you are, and if it matches to what someone else thinks that you could do well for them, that's the cool thing.
I want to take you down memory lane. If you put yourself in these high schooler shoes, what were you thinking? What would you ever have guessed you'd amount to everything in your career back then?
I would never have dreamed it. In high school, I grew up in the Midwest in Peoria, and just wanted to keep playing. Never really, obviously always wanted to go to college, and kind of just let each process take its course and not get too far ahead. And if you're good, as these kids are, it will all align the way it should in the universe.
And you might wound up a MLB Hall of Famer too.
If that's the journey, if not, I know one thing: he's going to be a wonderful kid. He's gonna just love it and enjoy every step.
Well, thank you so much, Jim, for your time. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Great stuff from Anna there with a Hall of Famer. You never know who you're going to run into. Our Wasp has made his appearance. The Wasp has made his appearance on Field 9, and we get some exit velo on the Wasp there as he made his way across the field and made his way out. Going to be joined here in a little bit by Mark Wagner from Prep Baseball Colorado, kind of wrapping up coverage of our workout day, and we're going to have so much more coming to you over the next few days. We're going to have a lot of game action, so if you enjoyed what we're doing here, things are just getting started. Thursday, we're going to be on air at 12:30. We'll have Maryland against Virginia, California against Nevada, and Michigan versus Pennsylvania. Then Friday is Pacific Northwest against Utah, Midwest and Minnesota, and New Jersey and New York at the 4:30 slot. Saturday at 12:30 is Texas, Georgia, Wisconsin, and Kansas, and New York versus Massachusetts. And we will wrap up our coverage Sunday with the Junior Feature Games Championship. So make sure you stick around for that one. Going to be some hardware won across the event here as we kind of close things out. Again, just waiting on Mark Wagner. Had a player with him from Colorado, so we're going to have an opportunity to get some more player insight across the experience here. And they were kind of waiting as we were running our Tomy interview, and they said, all right, go run. So I guess the kid's going to go run his 60 and then come back. And we're going to get him fresh off running a 60. So we're going to get some real world, some real life reviews here of what workout day is like. You heard about it earlier from the likes of Lash Henderson. Had Nealon Holsey, who's going to be undergoing everything here for Nevada in a little bit. But I know Lash Henderson set some tough numbers for everybody else to follow. But we'll be joining you as soon as we can when we have Mark Wagner and the crew coming by from Prep Baseball Georgia. So stick around, watch our workout coverage, and we'll be right back from the studio. Welcome back. Cory McCartney joined by Braden Milliken playing for Colorado over the next few days for the future games. Braden, man, appreciate you doing this. So you've been here before. You were part of the junior feature games for Colorado in 2022. Tell me about that transition when you go from the junior feature games. This is obviously a little bit of an elevated environment. You guys have the opportunity after this is over with to talk to college coaches. So when you go into this situation with all this at stake, how different is it?
I think it was super cool in the junior future games. Like, you got to see and experience what, like, the older kids are doing. And, like, that's where you want to be. And then now that I made it here and to be here, like, you see the coaches and you're able, like, August 1st, you get to talk to them and interact. It's a big, something super cool you get to be a part of.
Yeah, and you guys are obviously playing for some hardware in the junior
Yeah.
future games, and you guys get to go out and do bracket play. It seems like every time I talk to a guy who's been through future games, every one of them says, man, I wish that team could go through a tournament together. So I'm sure you're probably going to have that same mindset after this thing is over with. Tell me about coming together with some guys from Colorado to wreak some havoc.
It's super cool. Definitely since, like, a lot of my club teammates are here with me. And so it's like, get to take kids from Colorado out here and show what we got.
You just got done running the 60, I believe. So what was the goal? Yeah, what was the goal? How did it go?
Not the best. I'm more of the
game speed guy.
Yeah. Or a lefty, big lefty hitter, run as fast as I can type thing.
We've got you with an exit velo on the profile at 97.4. Have you gotten into triple digits?
I believe I got there one time. Hopefully this prep during the future games I'll get it.
Okay. So how do you kind of approach the showcase elements and stuff? Because like I said, some guys, it's like, I feel like my game translates better in game than it does in a showcase. How do you handle that?
I try not to think about it too much. Like, show up and, like, you trained as hard as you can up to this moment. So you just got to come out and perform and do what you already know how to do.
You play for Slammers. We see a lot of the Slammers teams here at LakePoint throughout the summer. Tell me about that program and getting you ready to be in this kind of a position.
The program's really good. It puts all the best kids from Colorado all together, and, like, from all over the state, and, like, learn to develop together and push each other.
I always like to know about a guy's influences. You guys living in Colorado, obviously you got the Rockies there. Were you a Rockies fan growing up? Or there's not a lot. I mean, you look at the map. I saw this the other day on Twitter. Someone kind of drew like that whole part of the country, and the Rockies are the only team for like a huge chunk of the nation. So were you a Rockies fan, or where did you look?
I was not. I was always looking. I always liked players more. Like, grow up watching Freddie Freeman. Loved watching his swing, and then, like, when he was with the Braves and now with the Dodgers, I love watching.
Yeah, I was a Braves reporter for 14 years and spent a lot of time with Freddie. I see Freddie wears similar glasses like that. He had an issue. Actually, it's funny. He was out in Colorado, and he kept getting dust in his eyes out there, and so his contacts were a problem, so he started wearing glasses that kind of looks pretty similar to what you got on there. Do you kind of have that same mentality at the plate that I'm just trying to go over top of the shortstop's head? So tell me about having an approach then. What does an approach mean for you as a developing hitter?
Mostly, like, hunt something that's flat, in my opinion. Like, hunt it early in the count, something like you can drive. And even if it's an outside fastball that you're like, oh, that could be a ball, like, you got to attack that, because that could be the best pitch you're getting.
Let me ask you this. When we get into the future games, the actual game events, the pitchers are trying to run it up. Everyone's trying to light up that radar. There's hundreds of college coaches back there watching. As a hitter, are you going up there thinking this guy's going to try to challenge me with a fastball, or do you think, you know what, maybe this guy's got some secondary stuff and he wants to put that on display?
I always go up to the approach of, like, he's going to try to throw one by me, and, like, don't miss that one, basically. Like, you get if he gives it to you, don't miss it. Like, that's the pitch you want to hunt, so go get it.
All right, well, Braden, don't miss it if you get it over the next few days. But, man, listen, I appreciate it and wishing you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
Go back and you're shagging. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. We weren't gonna stay on the air much longer, so I just wanted to make sure we had everybody in place with us. State Director Mark Wagner here from Prep Baseball Colorado. Mark, welcome to LakePoint. I hope travels were safe. I know a lot of people had some issues getting here with all the issues with the airlines and whatnot. So I hope everything was smooth.
Everything was smooth. We just waited for a plane to come in from Atlanta that we could get on. So we were about 45 minutes late, but from what I hear, that was smooth sailing compared to how it could have been.
Let's talk about the Colorado pitching rotation that you guys are going to roll out the next couple days.
Yes.
Gunnar Garrison, Tyler Houston, Maddox Burnett on Thursday. Tell me a little bit, why Gunnar Garrison's getting the ball to start things off, and about the other guys behind him.
Gunnar's a guy who won the state championship at 3A in Colorado, so we figured he'd be ready for the big time. The bright lights wouldn't get to him. So we're going to hand him the ball right away and let him kick it off. Should be running some fastballs up around 90, 91. Big athletic kid, a guy that, the scouts are going to salivate when they see him walk out there on the mound. He's 6'2", 6'3". Like I said, he'll run the fastball up around 90. He also can command it. He's going to pound the zone. He knows how to pitch, and he's been in the big moments. So I think people are going to be pretty impressed by the arms we run out there, period. Last year we had a lot of really athletic outfielders and infielders. This year we're kind of the opposite, more bangers as far as the position players go, but the arms are going to be, we should be 90-plus from several of our guys.
Yeah, and obviously you're also going to roll out Tyler Houston after him. 70th ranked right-handed pitcher in the nation, up around 90. I know that Sean Duncan likes to say every time a guy hits 90, a bell is supposed to ring here at LakePoint Sports, like an angel getting their wing.
That's it, man.
Aaron Jaquez is another guy. You guys are going to have him on Saturday, the number 2 player in Colorado. We've got him at 87. Do you think he's got 90 in him during this event?
We've seen him up to 92 in games this summer. So, yeah, I think he's made a big jump. Those numbers, Jaquez kind of has come off some arm trouble, just being young.
Jaquez, okay.
Yeah, I think he had maybe more velocity than his body was ready for when he was, 14, 15 years old. He's gotten some of that figured out. He's developed some core strength, and I'm telling you that he's probably the most asked about guy on our roster. So we're saving him for last so that guys have to stick around and watch us play. You know how that goes. There's some science to this, too.
Yeah, we look a little bit further down your guys' roster. Silas Malou, is that how you say his last name?
Muley.
Silas Muley, number 1 ranked outfielder in the state. We got him with exit velos around 90, bat speed around 72. The bat speed metric is something I've talked to a lot of the guys about, because now that the Major League has adopted that, obviously there's no real correlation between a guy who gets 600 ABs a year as opposed to a guy who in a showcase environment is seeing maybe 20 pitches tops.
Sure.
But how do you kind of look at that number and use that when you're trying to break down a player?
To me, the bat speed means you've got a chance, right? You can be a good hitter without bat speed, but with bat speed, now as you develop as a hitter, then, the ball's just going to jump off. It's just you can create a special guy, a guy who can drive the ball over people's heads, doubles, triples, home runs. Obviously, we play in Colorado, so a lot of home runs there that probably are doubles here. But nonetheless, with bat speed, a guy can develop as a hitter. And a couple of our guys have both, right? They've developed as hitters and they have the bat speed. So that's kind of the best of all worlds. But the bat speed, to me, is kind of where it all begins. If we have bat speed, now we can make a player from there. And I think the college guys think the same way. I did it for a long time. And without bat speed, you just wonder if how good a guy can be. He is what he is when he shows up to you, right? But if a guy has bat speed, that through the reps and through the training and all the things that these college guys do, he's going to become a better and better hitter. He's going to get pitch recognition. He's going to get better. And now, when he does get to the point where he has good bat-to-ball skill, then look out. Now we're talking about doubles, triples, and home runs, which is what we're talking about. Everybody wants. We've become the true outcomes and all that kind of stuff. Everybody wants guys who can drive the ball out of the park, right?
Joined by Prep Baseball Colorado's Mark Wagner. Talk about your resume. Former head coach at Fort Collins High School, coach at the collegiate level, University of Evansville, Bradley University, Odessa Junior College, Moorhead State, Mendocino Community College. I say all that.
Goes on and on.
Well,
man.
I say all that because you look at the environment this week, over the next few days here, and we've added the senior future games division, and there's a lot of players who are going to get interest from those JUCO levels, those lower levels. But those are meaningful opportunities now with the transfer portal and the limited exposure that they're going to get to these Power 5 programs. As a guy who's kind of been there and done that, what's your conversation to the players going into this?
Take advantage of the opportunity. Recruiting has changed so much with the portal. It gets done sooner than when I coached and all that kind of stuff. Guys going into their senior year, those used to be guys we'd look at and salivate for, hoping to get some early signs. Now everybody's, committed 3 years ahead of time. But it doesn't matter when you get signed, and that's what I'll talk to these guys about. It doesn't matter when you get signed, when you get committed, when you get found. Take advantage of the opportunity. And they're going to have an opportunity to play in front of a bunch of guys that probably haven't been able to see them. and hopefully they can open some eyes for some of these coaches, maybe at this, like you're talking about, the secondary levels or the lower levels or the junior college level, because it's all about just getting an opportunity to get on the field at this point.
Let's talk about success stories coming out of the future games. Mitch Haythorne in 2022 comes in here, rips off a slider that just had people absolutely salivating.
Stupid.
And I remember talking to him afterwards. He was named most valuable pitcher.
Yep.
Ended up running him into Super 60, and he came over. I hadn't seen him, in a couple years to that point. Obviously, a guy who took full advantage of this, comes out of nowhere and makes his name. When you're the state director who's put him on that team, what does that kind of performance mean to you?
Oh, it's a great feeling when you know what you've seen and you know what a kid can do, and then you get him on this national stage and give him those opportunities. And again, it's not about me, it's about the kid, right? So the kid gets that opportunity. I mean, he's from Eaton, Colorado, which is the same place Gunnar Garrison is from, coincidentally. Yeah, and by the way, those guys haven't lost a game since Mitch started playing there. They've won like 83 in a row, I think it is at this point, something like that. Don't quote me. But no, you bring a kid from Eaton, Colorado, who we all know is good, but it's like, man, I'm telling you, and you call people and you tell them, like, this guy's really good, and he comes here and performs like that, and it's like, wow, it's just validation for the kid, and it gets eyes on Colorado, right? And that helps the next guy. Mitch Haythorne's story helps Gunnar Garrison's story, who helps the next guy, down the road at Eaton, Colorado, or at, small places in Colorado and whatnot. So it's pretty fulfilling to just get those guys those opportunities, because it's all about them. It's all about them getting, the chance to be seen and to perform at the level that we know they can perform at on a national stage.
I was talking to Dan Jurek from Pacific Northwest about the weather conversation that he has with kids about coming down here. It's not too hot today. I think we've been a little bit blessed with the rain that's come in. It's kind of cooled things off. But what are those conversations like?
Well, we explain powder to guys, because I know a lot of guys don't know what powder is. We've never played in these kind of places. Our conversations are more about altitude, because a ball that you can hit up into the air in Colorado and get, doubles, triples, and home runs off of, here you got to more strike through the ball. You got to hit down through it. And that's the thing and you'll see our BP usually here is not super great. By the second day, and then once we get to games and we talk about it again, they've had a chance to see, like, hey, the ball doesn't go anywhere. Now they start to make some adjustments. But that's kind of the battle that we fight here, is because of the altitude or lack thereof. Air obviously super dense here. You've got to really strike through the baseball and hit it head-high line drives and let it backspin, instead of in Colorado where you can get away from almost miss-hitting balls, but if you get them up in the air, then you have a chance to hit it over an outfielder's head.
That's an interesting conversation, because I think a lot of times, we talk about, when we're watching major league teams go out to play the Rockies, or we're watching, NFL players go out there and everybody's got, they're getting, oxygen on the sideline. I think we think about it from that end of it.
Mm-hmm.
We rarely think about it from the other side of it. That's what it's like for your guys coming here.
Yeah, and the second thought there also is the breaking balls will be way better. So we've got guys who are, spinning a breaking ball, and it's okay. It's a high school looking breaking ball. They get down in this environment where the air's thicker and more dense, and now the breaking ball, Mitch Haythorne, classic example, right? That thing is just, it's a totally different level of breaking ball now. And then that makes a lot of these guys want to get into these types of environments if they're going to play in college, because, wow, I like it when my slider does that versus what it does at home. But, again, from the hitter standpoint, then that's a little bit different too, because the breaking balls are different here than what we see. A lot of just spinning breaking balls. Change of speeds is more what you get in Colorado, whereas here, the ball will actually break and dive and things like that. So it's just an adjustment, but, there's an adjustment. Baseball is a game of adjustments, right? So there's always adjustments to be made no matter where you're at or what you're doing or who you're playing against. So it's just another thing that we can, talk to our guys about and really make sure that they pay attention. And like I said, we'll start talking about it here in about 3 minutes before we hit. And some guys will believe me and some guys won't, but after they hit, they'll believe.
Yeah, Paul Bird told me, former All-Star, that it wasn't the first start after being in Colorado that was the issue. It was the second one after that, because he felt like you overcompensated, as you were trying to get your breaking stuff back after being there, and he felt like you find yourself kind of in a rut as you try to get yourself back on track.
Yeah, guys overthrow the breaking ball. If you watch Rockies games, a lot of guys throw breaking balls that back up, and that's why, guys in Colorado obviously swing it great in Colorado, because the breaking ball backs up into their barrel. Whereas, down here, that doesn't necessarily happen as much, because guys are trying to overthrow. They're trying to make the breaking ball do more than it should. But from the high school standpoint, or from, these guys' standpoints, it'll be a lot easier. We'll talk again about just, hey, do what you do, let your pitch do its thing. And, guys will see some success right away from that. And, it'll help them. It'll help them while they're here for sure.
Let you get out of here in a second to go watch your guys take BP, but kind of an open-ended question I've been asking all the state directors. You had Mitch Haythorne, who was kind of that breakout guy. I'm not asking you to necessarily pinpoint one guy, but are there some that you kind of earmark, and maybe not the guys who have that high state ranking or even national ranking, but are there guys who you think, when all is said and done, that they're going to be on some coaches' radars when they end up leaving Georgia?
Yeah, I think Max Burnett is a guy who's going to be on a lot of people's radars. I don't know what he's ranked. He was hurt all spring. He's just coming back. We've seen him up to 90, 91 at times. He was a guy who was also a JFG kid, and like I said, has had some arm injuries. I think he's just back healthy right now, so I think he's going to jump way up the board. I think you're going to see Josh Weaver, who's going to play middle infield for us, left-hand hitter, big physical bat, probably a corner guy at the next level. Again, a guy from a small mountain town, or actually western
near
Slope
Grand
town.
Junction, I believe.
Yeah, on
yeah.
the other side of the mountains from where all the population is, even in Colorado, right? But he's going to come out and he's going to swing the bat well, and he's going to get on a lot of people's lists. Jaquez obviously is a guy that a lot of people know about, but I think you're going to see his interest double and triple because he's a big body, easy arm. Like I said, I would anticipate he'll be low 90s, knows how to pitch. So I mean, there's a lot of guys because we come from a place that's not heavily recruited and not highly sought after. Pretty much any one of these guys could open some eyes for sure when they're down here.
Yeah, we had Weaver here not too long ago playing for the Colorado Rockies scout team,
Yep.
and he was telling us at the time, he's like, this is my first time in Georgia, and we were pretty excited for him to get the opportunity to come back here.
Yeah, and he's got an older brother who plays at Austin Peay, and then he's got a brother that I think is I think he's a freshman now. He's at a junior college, Cowley County in Kansas, so there's some pedigree there in the family too. And, this isn't their first rodeo. He's going to know what's going on. And, obviously the younger one always has all the advantages,
That's
right?
right.
The brothers can explain, this is how it's really like. This is what the coaches are really going to be like. This is what the process is like. So, I think he's going to open some eyes, but I think his eyes are probably already open to the whole scenario.
Great stuff, Mark. Listen, you and Team Colorado, wishing you guys the best of luck and enjoy yourselves here in Emerson.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Always great to be here.
All right, we'll be back shortly. You're watching Workout Day from LakePoint Sports. Hope you've enjoyed our live look-in at Prep Baseball's Future Games Workout Day, and this is just the beginning, and I've been herding cats all day long, but I'm happy to have been joined by so many great players and faces from the Prep Baseball Network, but we, as I mentioned, are just getting started. So as you take a look at the coverage that we'll have over the next few days, and just a laundry list of games that we'll have for you. Starting Thursday in the 12:30 window, we're going to have Maryland versus Virginia, California versus Nevada, and Michigan taking on Pennsylvania. Friday at 4:30 will be Pacific Northwest versus Utah, Midwest and Minnesota, and New Jersey and New York. Saturday at the 12:30 window is Texas and Georgia, Wisconsin, Kansas, and New York versus Massachusetts. And it all wraps up Sunday with the Junior Future Games Championship. That one's slated for around 3:15. The young guys going out there playing for some hardware. They're the only ones who get to actually turn this into bracket play. So going to be an opportunity to see who is the best of the best in the Junior Future Games circuit. And until then, this is Cory McCartney thanking you for joining us, and we'll see you soon from LakePoint Sports.